also the mind, a collection of events, self-helping quotes, taken from what's often called the psychoanalytic or the psychoanalytic perspective, which long ago, as I understand it, was referred to by some as philosophical medicine or narrative medicine, helping us to reclaim and find ourselves and get ourselves back to ourselves. We had our authentic self, we lost it, want to get it back. Okay, so we had what some people refer to as a sense of beingness at home within quality, the feminine principle, the feminine element, sense of beingness, the serene, inexhaustible fullness of beingness, ontological self, feeling self. Okay, the sense of feeling embodied. Kirsten Wilson says if you're not in your body, you're not going to be making sense, really. So we live to the extent that we're connected to our beingness. Now, with childhood trauma, this beingness, um, the child protects it. He flash freezes it and sends it away. That's like the basic, but it can take a variety of forms. So Snow White in a coma in a box in the forest, Rapunzel locked in a tower. Okay, the beingness can be um, personified like a princess, and she morphs into a swan and flies away. So we're not accessing our beingness because in childhood trauma, he's born with a beingness, he's born connected, whole and radiant, golden ball, embodied, feeling self. It doesn't feel like a stuffed rabbit, he feels like a humming rabbit, right? Like embodied like that, meant to be like that. So, but with childhood trauma, that emotional body, quote unquote, goes numb, flat. The jargon is flat affect, alexithymia, no words for your feelings, alex or athymolexia, no feelings for your words. Okay, so one image in the Maiden King story is the pin goes on the collar. Often at birth, the child's traumatized. Okay, and the pin goes on the collar, and he feels more or less not fully real and alive, like the Velveteen Rabbit story. And so that's a huge loss. That's a major, major loss to lose our authentic self, our home within, our sense of beingness. And you need this beingness. You need this I. You need this kind of authentic I um, to mourn losses. Number one, if there's a loss, I felt a loss. That was a loss to me. And so you have the capacity to mourn losses. If there's an I there, like I feel sad, there's got to be an I there to feel the sad. Who feels sad? I feel sad. You need that kind of I, authentic I, I mean. And that same eye is needed for um, enjoying the present, being in the present, loving in the present, and the fountain of love. This eye allows you to make I statements, free associate, be in the present, think reasonably, in a three-dimensional way, vertical way. Everything's love or cry for love. People cry for love, but it's confused. Well, you can be curious and wonder how it's coded and unpack and see the positive intention that they're afraid to cry for love, so they show you maybe by telling you what their mother did to them. Hurt people, so they might shame others to say that they were shamed by their mother. So you're more broader and three dimensional. You have you have the third side of the coin that holds the two sides. So that's called vertical thinking or three dimensional thinking. It's not some kind of simplistic either or. It's sort of like the both and idea. The common image is, I think, as I understand it, a lot of people like to use the diamond. I didn't use that before. The diamond with various facets. So that's the beingness, your authentic self, and your mind can recognize the facets, and it's nothing exclusive. It's all kind of inclusive like that. So this beingness quality, that we live to the extent that we feel this beingness, we live to the extent that we feel from there. Now the feelings, we're talking about the primary feelings. The primary feelings. I got to remember to hold this camera without blocking the microphone. I'm using this new budget phone, sort of a clearance sale in the bin, in the clearance bin, rock bottom kind of discounted old phone they were getting rid of. Make room for the new stuff coming. So I'm still getting used to it. I've had a little tech issues with it. Let's see how it goes this time around. To my surprise, unexpected thing about this budget phone. Yesterday, I did it in the outdoor place with the Swan, and I kind of avoid going there because it's very noisy. They got the waterfall there, and the building beside has a huge fan like that. There might be some construction sounds nearby. It's just near the main road, and the sky trains passing. It's just really quite noisy, and I've tried to do videos there, and it's like, geez, I'm struggling with the background noises. I went there yesterday. To my surprise, this phone has the odd feature where it'll do something for you. It'll blot out background noises and just focus on your present sounds. I didn't know this phone could do that. I didn't know it was that advanced. So oddly enough, I may be able to do more videos at the Swan place. Very nice. You can see the swans. We saw the swans yesterday. They got three of them there now. And you can see the waterfall, but you don't hear the rushing loud noise of the waterfall. You can hear like a trickling of it. That's pretty good. I thought, wow. So I went there today, booked, fully booked. The place is fully packed. Some major event is taking place. I don't even know what it is. Some major event. The whole venue, like the whole. Usually they just book like the building, the indoor part, and the outdoor part they can use for the public. But they booked everything, the indoor and the outdoor. So that's a major kind of event like that. So so I came here, a nice, very nice place here. One of my first choices is to come here. So luckily, there's no event here at this particular time. The other venue, yeah. So three of the four spots were were taken. So luckily, my favorite spots available actually. They're all my favorite spots. Never mind that. So anyway, that's just a little sidebar here. You may see more swans in the future. um, yeah, but I gotta make sure I don't block the microphone. It's very sensitive that way. Okay, yeah, like most of my videos are done with this budget. Um, like this was the regular phone I've been using for 6, 7, 8 years, 7 years or something. Incredible little phone, very basic, minimalist kind of budget phone, basic phone. Someone called it a kid's phone, very simple kind of phone. But it's sturdy. It suffered the elements, the sand, the wind, the water. Not underwater, but three continents. I never used a cover, just basic kind of phone. It worked. I did a thousand plus videos, four continents. That this phone's been great. And so unfortunately, it's finally come to its end. So I can just maybe now, if I plug in the battery part and the speaker part, I can maybe use it to play some music. Like our opening song, Star. Yeah, so that's a song called Star by the classic rock band Streetheart. And we got several songs by Kenny Shields. He's the lead singer. He was the lead singer. Kenny Shields passed away maybe 10 years ago. And that song's off their second album called Under Heaven, Over Hell. Excellent album. Stars on there, Storytellers on there. What kind of love? Oh, that's on another one. Hollywood's on there. A few other. They got a good cover song on there. Um, okay. Anyways, Main Street's not on there. Anyways, yeah. So I think we got like four songs by Streetheart on our soundtrack. Just before Kenny Shields passed away, just before he passed away, he did a cover of Nature's Way. Um, the band Spirit had two hits back in the early 70s called I Got a Line on You and Nature's Way. And so they were just like a two hit band wonder kind of thing. And it kind of got forgotten, I guess. Um, but Christopher Cross kind of saved it. He does a cover of Nature's Way. That's the only real kind of excellent cover of Nature's Way by Christopher Cross. But then, maybe 10 years ago, before he passed away, Kenny Shields did a cover of it. So now we got two good covers of Nature's Way. And even though Kenny Shields was at the end like that, he still sounded okay. Not in full force, but it's still okay, Nature's Way. So we played that song a couple times, yeah. Okay, enough about street. um, okay, let's get back on track here. So I want to maybe try to lay down sort of the basic premise that I'm sort of currently working on, or have been working on, trying to refine and update as we go along. So that's just sort of um, the opening premise that the baby's radiant, um, embodied. He's in his body. He's radiant. Has his feelings. Has his golden ball. So that's the natural state of affairs. The temperament's pleasant. The temperament's calm. If he can maintain that, he'll think reasonably because he's calm. He can see reality calmly. And we recognize the reality. We're all one family. We're all one family, literally. We're all technically cousins. Jane Elliott says on average 30 to 50 times removed. We all came from that massive family in the northeast of Congo somewhere and spread around like that. Only one hominid grew the cortex. That's us, Homo sapiens. We're all Homo sapiens. We're all from the same family back then. Now, yes, it's confusing because as we spread around, there were trivial biological variations due to sun exposure, diet, kind of thing. And then 10,000 years ago, we became a traumatized version of ourselves called Homo traumicus. But embedded in our consciousness, and we're the only ones that are conscious of ourselves, is our capacity to heal from trauma. So we kind of took a sidestep, I guess, by traumatizing ourselves accidentally 10,000 years ago due to the mismatchment of our discoveries, the serotonin, our panic reactivity around it. It was kind of an accident, it seems. But embedded in it for the past 10,000 years, storytellers came on the scene. Okay, then you got the philosophers and the poets and the Ibsens and the Goethes, and now we got some current jargon a little bit. So, and you got speculative, metaphorical stories like plays and things and short plays. And I want to comment a little bit about the film Three Faces of Eve. I've never talked about that before. So we've talked about several psychology films in the past. Lady in the Dark, now Voyager. That's Uncertain Feeling, Spellbound, of course, and a few others. But I've never commented on the Three Faces of Eve story. Um, I think I tried to watch it a while ago. It looked kind of boring. And when they put the shrink in there, okay, it was just a joke. They just made a farce out of it. They put this pompous guy there constantly smoking the cigars like Mr. Freud did. They didn't give him any script to make it sound like he was a shrink or anything. He was just this Dumbo guy smoking all the time. So it was a bit of a joke like that. So I kind of, oh geez, you got to be kidding me. And the actress was kind of seemed a little boring. I just brushed it off. I just didn't care about it. I put that show aside. But then just by chance, I just started watching a few clips on the Carol Burnett show, the old famous Carol Burnett show. And in the last video, I talked about the clip, a very good clip called Visit by Dan. Visit from Dan, Visit from Dan. And the topic was narcissism. So the mother always had to, whatever was going on, the mother made it always about her. She was center stage. And the line in there was she could never see past the end of her nose. Right? So that used to be an expression for narcissism back then. I guess some people still use it. I'm not sure. I've never really heard it much, but just imagine that. Just wherever your face, wherever your nose ends, and just imagine a bubble around yourself, and that's all you care about. That's all you notice. All your focus is there. You can't care or love what's outside the bubble. So you're just in your own little bubble. So you can't see beyond your nose is the expression. Interesting expression. So the main character, Carol Burnett, played a character called Eunice. So Eunice got a phone call and it destroyed her life. She was distraught and crying and all this. And the mother said, "Oh, well, what about me? Aren't you going to pay attention to me now? Don't you care?" The daughter says, "Don't you notice? I'm suddenly in poverty. I'm a single mother with two kids, and everything's destroyed. My husband ran off with the waitress, and oh my God, what a shock! I have no skills. I can't type or get a job easily like this. My life is devastated like this." Um, and she said, "Yeah, well, I told you so, or something, or yeah, he insulted me, and I didn't like what he said. So she turned everything, made it about her. And then Dan, the visitor, said, "Oh yeah, and I thought my mother couldn't see past the end of her nose, so she was like that." So I wanted to add in that expression that she makes herself the center stage, can't see it past the end of her nose or beyond her nose, kind of thing, uh, as um, as a tag in for our thread on narcissism. So we have 62 topics, one of them being narcissism, BPD, egoism, bully pattern. We cover the major personality patterns actually. So one of them is the NPD personality pattern. So this mother in that scene kind of gave a good example of where she made it all about her and twisted everything about her. So spent about an hour on it yesterday, and then a follow up. It's only like 15 minutes. It's called the Carol Burnett Show. She does like a skit called like families. It's called a family skit, and she's got a set of them. So one episode of the family skit is called "Visit from Dan." Very good episode, very touching episode. Um, she couldn't um, she couldn't feel safe to mourn. She had no support to mourn. The visitor Dan was a little helpful in the end, a little bit. The mother was just complaining all the time. She had to crawl up in the fetal position on the sofa. She tried to deny it, just laugh it off or something. So she had no safety to really get in touch with her feelings. So she's doing defensive things, regression, using humor, um, and then she had to fight back at her with her mother like this. Um, Actually, the Dan guy at the end did was a little helpful kind of thing. Like he tried to comfort her by saying, "Well, one door closes, another door opens, and this is a time where you're going to find new parts of yourself, parts of yourself that you didn't know you're going to reclaim now, and you're going to be the free creature that finally, you're going to be free actually." So he was trying to be a little helpful like that. The mother jumped in and interrupted him. "Look, stranger, I don't know what spaceship you came on here." But back out of this. Don't free my daughter. I need her to take care of me, because the mother uses the daughter for supply. Mother's rights like this, and the mother is invested to see her daughter as a failure, so she can feel important and make the daughter turn to her. So the mother was using the daughter for narcissistic supply. So she was always center stage, made everything about her. And the daughter was trying to break free from this kind of thing. Um, anyways, and then another episode was the charades episode. Very funny episode, just a simple comedy. They were playing charades, the charades game. A very funny one with Carol Burnett. And then a third clip uh, I saw this morning, um, something about Eunice's old childhood friend paid a visit or something. Blast from the past. I forgot the name of the episode. Friend from the past or something like that. Um, so Eunice got a friend from the past, and sure enough, same old dysfunctional stuff. The mother's criticizing her, um, and then the friend, had to fight back like this. Now, the actress who played that friend was Joanne Woodworth. Is that right? Joanne Wood something. Woodworth, is that right? I thought, oh my God, isn't that the woman who played the Three Faces of Eve? And I was reminded of that. I thought, um, so I didn't have time to watch the whole film, but I just skimmed the little snippets of it. I put it on a high speed, kind of very slow film. I put it on double speed just to quickly get some glimpses of it. Now, okay, I kind of remember it. So I want to maybe comment on it. Um, so let's comment on this film, um, The Three Faces of Eve, a little bit. I'll update this. So just finish up the introductory bit. So we're born with a beingness. Pin goes on the collar. The symbol of our beingness is the princess who might morph into a swan, or who's in a coma in a box, or turns to a stone or a statue in the forest like Echo did, and so on. So at midlife, we kind of recognize this. Go on, do various tasks. Um, Free association, dream interpretation, resolve either or thinking, get it to both ends, thinking, divide the seeds, face this someday fantasies, upgrade your false beliefs that you're guilty all the time, and find your parents' story, call a spade, and get the truth. Get towards morning. Try to now know what you couldn't back then, so you can feel what you couldn't have felt back then. Then you get your feelings back, your identity back. So grief is the doorway to your identity and feelings. All of the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away. So you got to get back your feelings. So it's all about mourning. But you see, in trauma, the child doesn't. Um, well, that's what I want to talk about. Three faces E. The kid couldn't mourn. Okay, so back to the introductory part. So we're trying to mourn so we can get back our beingness. We had our beingness, we lost it, want to get it back. So to get it back, it comes spontaneously. That's the mourning. It'll come back to us. The firebird, the phoenix. It'll come back. But we got to set the stage for that to happen naturally. That setting the stage is called build the ego. Repair the ego, restore the ego. In the Three Faces of Eve, the healthy ego was called Jane. Jane. So build the Jane, build the ark, build the adult mind, the conscious mind. This is the mind. This is the mind that keeps you in the present. This is the mind that understands the past, can accept the past, hold the opposite of the past. See, this is your healing mind, your conscious mind. You want to build that kind of mind like that, right? And if that mind isn't there, well, you're in the unconscious. That's like the flood and the water. And then in the Eve story, you got either what's her name again? Eve. Eve white or Eve black. You got these splitting unconscious. See, they did it. They called Eve white or black. That's the splitting mechanism. The baby splits. That's a sign of the trauma because the names are black and white like that. That's a sign of trauma. So she couldn't have the Jane there, the Jane mind. When you face these two, when you befriend these two, bring them together, kind of thing, then they poof away and Jane takes over. So that's a conclusion of it all. Okay, let's pick up then on the story here. So so right off the bat, let's start off as I currently as I'll update this. I haven't carefully watched the film. It's based on a novel or something, but my first impression is it's about a little girl who's 5 years old. Right, she's 5 years old, and the grandmother died in the family. Right, and they held the funeral in the family backyard or something like that. I didn't get that part, but anyways, so the grandmother, 99 years old or something, she's dead in the casket, pale, dead body like that in the casket or something, and the little girl named Eve, right? She's sort of under the house playing with her friends, playing with her toys or something like that, and then the mother has some kind of um, picked up some kind of belief that it would be good for her daughter, the 5-year-old daughter, to look into the casket, see the dead grandmother lying there, the corpse like that, and to kiss the corpse and say goodbye, grandmother, or something like that. Now, um, now maybe now her positive intention was to acknowledge the loss, admit the loss, face it, see it, so you know it, say goodbye, kiss it goodbye. Maybe that was sort of the positive intention that the mother picked up this idea or something like that. But the issue was the mother's missing something. For somebody to admit a loss, to face a loss, to admit a loss, they need a certain kind of psychic structure to do so. They need a kind of sense of beingness, an ability to face that kind of feeling and not be overwhelmed with the pain of the loss. So you need that kind of beingness to admit a loss. It's the verdict of reality that makes the work of mourning so difficult. So you need a kind of beingness. So the psychic structure needed to mourn losses is a beingness. Now the little girl, the 5-year-old girl, didn't have it. She didn't have it. She was traumatized herself. Okay, that's because in the mind, you got the black and white constructs, that's splitting in the mind. So she doesn't have the psychic structure to mourn. So this poor daughter cannot mourn the loss. She cannot admit or know or be forced to it. The mother yanked her like this. The daughter is screaming violently, "No, no, don't make me do this. I don't want to see this. Don't make me do this. Don't show me this. I can't see this. I can't know this. I can't admit this. I can't believe this. Don't no." Baby was terrorized. Baby was screaming at the top of her lungs, really terrorized like this. Mother said, "No, you got to do it." And everyone's very stoic about it. And so she was overwhelmed by this. She just like spaced out and couldn't remember it. She couldn't remember this event. So whatever potential whatever lingering potential that girl had to maintain a present mind, an adult mind, to live in the present, to have her beingness, it was gone at that point. So the Jane mind was squashed at that point. That was sort of the finishing point. It's funny, Robert Bly says that you have your beingness, it'll be gone by the age of 5. It'll be gone by the age of 5. Sure enough, in that film, it was age of 5, right? He said high school. If you by chance you still have it in high school, oh, they'll finish it off for sure by then. Jesus Christ. Usually it's gone at birth, actually, or sometimes even in uterus or shortly after birth during the relating with the mother. If she's misattuned, malattuned, the child will split. Once the child does splitting, okay, that's it. He's not going to be able to differentiate. He won't have his beingness. He won't have the reasonable mind. He won't think like an adult, really. He'll just be the arc is missing, right? So now the flood, now you're flooded with the unconscious. So you'll be driven by unconscious memories. Now the unconscious memories, okay, can kind of take two forms. It can take like the aggressor one, the way the mother treated you, and you become like her, identification with the aggressor, or you can play your child one where you're a victim and no good like that. Okay, so that's a freezing parent, frozen child construct, and Ilan Golem's books, Trapped in the Mirror and Unloved Again. We did a 14 video special run on the work of Miss Ilan Golem, 2901 to 14. Kind of her version of this is about the unconscious. You're going to play the frozen child one, always no good, always wrong, my fault, guilty, guilty. Or you're going to play the aggressive mother one, who felt entitled and criticized the child, and from the child's point of view, the mother was sadistic and cruel and all this. The freezing parent one. So there won't be an adult mind. There won't be a Jane adult mind, an arc adult mind, Jane mind, because didn't get a chance to be there because it's there with the beingness, but the beingness can't be there if the child has to split. So in the Inside Out film series 1 and 2, if we see, oh yeah, if we see it passing by, the ad for it is still on the SkyTrain. If we see it, I'll show it to you. Inside Out 1 and 2, very good film. So in Inside Out 2, the film of the year for 2024, Inside Out 2, you kind of see this kind of splitting thing. So you got the, like you sort of see two kind of minds, right? The delusional joy one, where you deny mother hurt you, so you're special and everything's always good, versus the anxiety character representing the closer to the truth, really, where you felt no good and guilty because you couldn't save the mother. You were punished. You thought you were being punished. You felt guilty and pain. Always no good, always wrong. So that they're both kind of exaggerated and incorrect. The mother's not. It's not. The mother's not like two separate people, and you have these two extreme either or mentalities. Mother's either or. You're either or. So the conclusion was, after the free association, the broccoli boat, and the ab reaction, the orbs come up. Okay, the firebird, the orbs like that. Then you resolve the oppositional thing, got a both and thinking. And then when they did the group hug at the end, that's the both and a new sense of self. As the beingness came back, then you got the Jane mind, that reasonable adult mind. And then she calmed down, and the coach gave her a scholarship because she's mature. She calmed down. She could think more clearly. The people around her could think more clearly. So the teammates could think more clearly. They'd be a better team if she was kind of very present like that. Um, so this back to Three Faces, the film Three Faces of Eve. Um, So right off the bat, they're telling you splitting mechanism is going on. Okay, because you see for most of the film, the actress plays the flip flop, right? She's Eve White or Eve Black, right? So those those personalities. Okay, what I'm saying is the film is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for psychology. Forget about this superficial debate about multiple personality, these experiments they did on people. Forget about that kind of stuff. It's not really it's maybe appealing in the public to think in those kind of terms because it helps people to get in touch with different sides of themselves. And you kind of exaggerate it like that. I put that kind of top debate aside. Think about more as a symbol, as a like a fairy tale for psychology. Treat it like a metaphor, symbolic, okay, like the inner mind kind of thing. Okay, like treat it like imagine it like a picture of what's going on inside, right? Like when the two Eves died, right? Nobody died, right? That's the end of those defensive beliefs of the two sides. Just like in Inside Out 2, the two disappeared, and you got the new sense of self. So nothing like. Okay, so sorry, let's back up a sec. So in the Three Faces of Eve story, first you see. So sorry, back up. So at the age of 5, okay, this child didn't have the ability to face loss, but the mother demanded it. I demand you, child. You look at your grandmother, you kiss her, and you say that's a loss. Goodbye. She can't. It's flooded. It's just too much. It's just too much. So that child decided then, there, and there. That's like the straw that broke the child's mind or something. So I won't know reality. This is too much pain to know reality. You forced me to know such a painful reality like this. I can't do this, and I gotta bless her, and I gotta be okay with it, and I gotta be. You want me to pretend that I'm such a healthy adult that I can do that? I'm a traumatized little child. I'm an angry, I'm a traumatized child like that. You're forcing me like this. So whatever potential this child had It kind of got squashed. So the Jane mind is gone. Put it that way. Undeveloped, couldn't develop whatever chance of the Jane mind or the adult mind, reasonable mind for the beingness. So the splitting is still going on. So this child's going to end up. Um, this child's going to end up um, with two constructs, with two personalities. Okay, two Eves, right? One will maybe kind of be on the surface, and the other will be unknown, right? Kind of thing. So on the surface, Puritan culture and all this, you have to be this polite, demure, shy little girl or something. Good little shy, little quiet little girl. Seen, not heard, all that stuff. Old film, right? So she developed that personality. Didn't know what she liked. Didn't afraid to assert herself or um, just comply and agree. So she was sad, moping, a little depressed, going along, demure, didn't bother anybody. Um, Plain vanilla. What's it called again? Plain. What do you call that personality again? There's a name for that kind of personality, though. Oh, Jesus. Mr. Vanilla or something. Vanilla White. Oh, Jesus Christ. I forgot. Just a demure, quiet, shy, doesn't, not unoffensive, unassertive, sad, moping, a little waifish, but not vocal, just quiet, like a quiet, silent waif or something. So didn't want to bother anybody. Just comply, leave me alone kind of thing. So she's just afraid of life, a little miserable like that. Uh, so defeated or something, or sad at what the mother did. Now the reality is she buried all the anger. Right? So that's the what she denies her real feelings like that. So split off are the real feelings of what the mother did, and not just the event, not just that funeral scene event, but also the 5 years building up to it. That was just the final straw kind of thing. So all of the anger and entitlement and indifference and recklessness and rebellion and protest like that. So you got this protest girl. So this protest girl was called Eve Black, right? And when she surfaced, when she took over, she was this femme fatale, playgirl, bar girl, showgirl, teased men, took their money, didn't care, cheated men, just rebellious, didn't care, kind of kind of like the opposite, representing her entitlement, her recklessness, breaking all the rules. They say it's girls like her that cause society to crash. They say, that kind of exaggerated indifference towards others, sense of entitlement, who cares mentality, right? So that was the other personality. Right? Okay, so a person may those are both unconscious kind of constructs. Okay, so in frozen child, freezing parent. So, oops. Okay, frozen. So let's borrow Alan Golem's one. Frozen child, freezing parent. So when Eve White plays the dopey, sad one, that's like the frozen child one. No good, I'm wrong, never enough, something wrong with me. Kind of like anxiety like that, but not an active anxiety, just like a defeated anxiety or something. That's the frozen child one. Not good enough, don't assert, don't be happy, nothing like that. Okay, then the other one is the active aggressive one. So there's the rebellious one, and that's the freezing parent one. So when she was on the scene, you'd see her, um, uh, cheating people and lying to people and deceiving people and taunting people, teasing people, taking the fellow's money and all this, and breaking her promise, and didn't care, rebellious like that. So she was like the mischievous kind of character. Yeah. So those two personalities, Eve White, Eve Black, from the splitting, kind of represent frozen child, freezing parent. Just an approximation that from the child's side, that's the frozen child one, or the Eve White one, okay, or versus identification with the aggressor. Be like the active aggressive mother, alluring, promising, rejecting, cheating, deceiving. So this mother was demanding and aggressive, freezing parent one, right? Maybe promised and rejected. So she became like a harlot kind of girl, promises, rejected, and all this. Um, They called her a playgirl. Yeah, they called her the town playgirl or something like that. Okay, so that's kind of like code for um, how she felt her mother was with her. That the mother would cheated her and allured her and rejected her and played with her. That the baby thought mother treated her like a plaything, so she identifies so that treats everybody like playthings. Okay, that's because that she identified with the aggressor. So in the trauma, the child can identify with the aggressor. It's the freezing parent, the Faustian deal, the Faustian pact, the Faustian bargain. So Eve Black was the Faustian one. That's the more disturbed one, more harmful one, aggressive one, indifferent one. Who cares? I'm entitled. The more like that. And then if the child doesn't, if the child doesn't quite do that, the other version is well, they'll just play themselves and not kind of cross over like that. Maybe that's one way of saying it, right? So you got Eve white, Eve black, right? Uh, Two versions of the trauma: the passive one and the active one, right? The active one's like the mother a little bit. The passive one is really what happened to you. So you maintain like the passive wounded child, or you act like the aggressive, cruel mother, like that. So the version those took was her personalities: Eve white, Eve black, kind of in that kind of mode like that. Now they're both true, like they're both part of the person. You know, the rebellion one, that's she is angry. She so the Eve Black one does express the anger and the rebellion of what happened, and then you know, and then her sad was well, she is sad by what happened, and so when Eve White plays the sadness of what happened, and Eve Black plays the anger of what happened. So she's both. The child is both sad and angry at growing up in this home, and then the final scene that crushed her with the funeral scene. So you see throughout the film these two kind of things, these two, and neither of them are happy. You won't be happy with either. You won't be happy with either. That's I think the message. The message was a person's not going to be happy either way. Okay, the playgirl one's not going to be happy. Uh, the party girl's not going to be happy, and this moping one is not going to be happy, right? Okay. So that there are two sets of feelings within, or personality, two personalities kind of within like that. Okay, so the film is about the problems like this. Now enter the now to present this, they took the pop culture idea that somebody might have multiple personalities, right? And somebody thinks, well, that's the experiments they did on people to see if they can do that with the hypnosis and all that, because you don't really see that like that. So there may be some kind of a they needed some kind of vehicle to present this. So they used the vehicle of the multiple personality, or so-called DID or something. Um, no one's ever seen it. No one's heard about it. This is all just fictional stuff, right? Um, I mean, you can survey a million people and ask a million people, have you ever met a person who was one way for a while, and then you saw them flip into some other kind of person, and then um, the first one has no idea or memory of how they were like the second one, and the second one doesn't care about the first one. Have you ever met someone like that? Like, have you ever met like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of person where um, Mr. Jekyll becomes Hyde, and then Jekyll the next day has no clue he was Hyde, like that kind of stuff? You never met that kind of thing, right? These exaggerated stories are to draw your attention to psychological dynamics within. So it's overly dramatized like that. Um, so they create these stories as metaphors for inner dynamics. They're not true on the outside. They're kind of point to something that's kind of true on the inside, but not literally true on the outside. It's not literally true on the outside. It's kind of true on the inside, like that. So fairy tales are not true on the outside. Fairy tales are not true, but they're symbols, but point to something invisible that's true on the inside. So it's kind of true on the inside, but it's not true on the outside. So you create an outside symbol to represent what's true on the inside, but invisible. You need the metaphor to communicate the invisible. How do you communicate the invisible? Create a picture, symbol, story, a metaphor, that kind of thing. So fairy tales are, yeah, okay. So on the surface of the film, they would use the multiple thing to carry the story, to carry the psychology. So the exaggeration was um, that that she in playing the demure one, all her bottle of anger came up, and then she had a psychotic break, and then became the harlot one, and then she was violent and tried to hurt the kid. And Jesus, that was a very dramatic one. Jesus Christ, it's kind of shocking like that. Jesus, very shocking scene that Eve tried to get rid of her own kid like that. Jesus Christ. So the husband did one good thing. He saved her, right? Saved the kid. Jesus Christ. So that she had to be locked away, of course, right? After that, right? But the point was, um, the opening narration was, you know, um, for every obese man out there, there's a thin man trying to come out. That was their kind of gambit or opening kind of line like that. So here you got this unhappy woman. Well, there's an active woman trying to come out, like a party girl trying to come out. For every sad girl there is on the planet, there's like a party girl that wants to come out. They mean it like that. So so now on the surface mechanism, they would use that the idea that she's very repressed, denies her anger, denies her hurt, denies her life force, denies her playing creativity, denies blowing off steam, just denies all the time. She just repressed, and all that repressing bundles up, and now you got like a double self kind of thing, and that double self was very angry and so on. That was Eve Black, right? And then sometimes the Eve would want to come out, so um, the mind would Eve would take over the person, and then Eve White had no memory, so she had no memory of when the other side took over. That's the multiple personality right there, where Eve White doesn't know that she was acting like Eve Black, right? And everyone thinks she's pretending. She's just a drama queen, just hysterical, wants attention, wants to be the center, just pretends it all, wants to feel important. So a lot of people couldn't believe this is actually happening, kind of thing. Like this is really true, like this. Well, um, they're kind of right, because the film is a metaphor for inner dynamics. If a person is kind of has two faces like that, and they say, "I don't remember that." Um, Actually, yeah, in the BPD personality pattern, a person can do something, and a minute later say, "Did I say I forgot that?" You're like two different people. 5 minutes ago you said that. 5 minutes later you forgot it, and you say the opposite. I don't remember. So there is this phenomena called um, this forgetfulness as a strategy to survive in every moment. So maybe they took the BPD phenomena and exaggerated it like that. In the BPD phenomena, people might do that. They might be two-faced like that or something. They're gonna promise something, and then 2 minutes later, totally forget it. You just promised that 2 minutes ago, and they really forgot it. They really don't know. Uh, they don't have a different personality like that. They just lie like that. So maybe they just amped it up, I guess, right? It's as if she has a different personality. It's as if maybe like an as if kind of thing. But when the BPD pattern, when they do that kind of flip flopping, lying, and all that, they're just in survival because they don't know time. So in the unconscious, there's no time. So what they say in a moment is to survive in that moment. Next moment, well, it's just that moment they want to survive. They don't care about the contradiction, what they said a moment ago, because they survived a moment ago. Next moment, they want to survive again. They don't care if it contradicts, because they're always in a time of survival kind of place. Because if there's too much trauma in that brain, it's that part of the brain doesn't know time, so they can lie just to survive. Next 5 minutes later, they'll lie again to survive. They don't care that 5 minutes ago they lied because they survived 5 minutes ago. All they want to do is survive in that kind of moments. They don't care about contradictions like that. So you can't really, you know, do things. You can't trust them. You know, that's why BPD have these dramatic, hysterical, intense, short-term relationships because you can't trust them. You never know where they are. They're just always triggered and lying all the time. So that's the BPD phenomena. We have a thread on the BPD phenomena. Right? Okay, back to the film. I am struggling with the film because I haven't really seen it, but watching the Carol Burnett show kind of piqued my interest. So, anyways, the idea was so she's in the hospital and all this, and now we don't see the shrink being like a real shrink. He's just some clumsy oaf for smoking the whole time. But the idea would be if she were in therapy over a 3-year period, I think it was a 3-year period or something, and she really did have an analytic therapist or something, then she would have more safety to build the mind, to build the ego, to restore the ego. Now, the smoking shrink did say one thing. He did say that that the two Eves should befriend each other. That Eve White should kind of get to know Eve Black. That's the double motif. So that part was okay. He did include that little comment. Didn't clarify it really. Just made a slight comment like that. So um, usually you want to befriend yourself, right? Everything that you don't know about yourself that's repressed and denied, you want to get to know that. It's a double motif. So Eve Black is the double of the Eve White character. But Eve White is not even really the Jane. It's not even the Jane, right? There's no Jane there. So she's saying it to Eve White. So she couldn't even really do it. So that's why it's kind of failed, right? So you'd say to the Jane mind, hey, Jane mind, your Eve White should befriend your Eve Black one and try to have within you the two getting along with each other. Get to know the two sides of you and you be aware of the two sides of you. That's the third mind. So Jane is the third side of the coin. Jane is the ego, the arc, the adult mind that sees the two sides, the two constructs, freezing parent, frozen child. That's the Elan Golem's thing. You want to build that mind that recognizes the two. There's the three faces of Eve, right? The three faces. Your adult mind, your child mind, parent mind. The critical parent. When we say parent, we mean this aggressive parent. If there's a healthy parent, well, that'd be the adult. But okay, that's so Eric Byrne. You can use Eric Byrne's PAC, parent, adult, child, right? The triangle. You can do the three points on the triangle, the Karpman triangle or the Eric Byrne triangle kind of thing. So you got a child, of course, and now the cruel parent, the child's victimized, the mother's the persecutor. Well, then they got the rescuer. Oh, it doesn't fit. Well, it doesn't fit. Yeah, that one doesn't fit. No, it's different. The Karpman one has a different message. Okay, the Eric Byrne one is that you got the child having a parent. Now, if the parent is healthy, that's the adult. The parent's the adult, and that's great. So you don't want that critical parent. When he says P for parent, he means the critical nasty parent. The healthy parent's embedded within the adult, but most people don't have a healthy adult parent. They got some critical, narcissistic, bullying, entitled, aggressive, bitter, helicopter mother, possessive, all that stuff. So now you got the missing A. There's no A there in the Eric Byrne model. So you got the child and the parent. And then where's the A? Where's the adult? Okay, so the child would be Eve White, and the parent would be the rebellion, aggressive, lying, cheating one, the Eve Black, right? There's no A. So you want to build the A. So she was in the hospital for 3 years. Theoretically, that'd be building the A, building the A. So sure enough, at the end of the film, magically, poof, Jane appears. That's a symbol that the adult mind is being present. So now you want to work with the adult mind. And now the old personalities are saying, hey, something's going on here. There's a healthy mind on the scene here. There's a healthy mind in this body here. What about our minds? What about our old personalities? Don't you need us anymore? Don't you want us anymore? So the healthy mind is going to run the show. The healthy mind is going to run the person. Those old personalities, they don't need them anymore, right? So they poofed away, they died away, right? And then Jane takes over, Yeah, that now she's healed. She's healed. She's healthy. Marries a new fellow. Gets back the kid. Everything's happy like that. Gets a job. She smiles. She's friendly. She's polite. The daughter loves Jane, right? Actually, the kid. By the way, she had a kid. By the way, staying with the parents and all that. The kid hated those two other parents. But when Jane came on the scene, the kid said, Gee, I really like this version of my mother. Can I have this version of my mother? I don't want the dopey version. I don't want this violent version who would try to kill me or something. I want this nice, pleasant, healthy adult version. Can I have this version of my mother? Is there any way I can have this version of my mother? The kid was saying, like, so that'd be in a fairy tale. Those two characters would shatter away, right? So in the Twilight Zone Saturday, you have that scene in the condo. You had the authentic self occupy the condo, and the false self was in the hotel kind of thing. And the hotel, they call him the weasel. The hotel said the guy in the hotel wanted to kick out the authentic self and reclaim the condo. So the condo is the body. Okay? Now, who's going to be in the body? The authentic self, okay, or the fake self? The authentic self came in and said, okay, well, this is better like this. We did it your way. We did it your way like that. And the false self tried to kick out the authentic self. The authentic self stayed like that. So finally, the shadow dissolved away, died away, disappeared away, like that. So these other Eve characters dissolved away, disappeared away, poofed away, and you got the Jane, right? The Jane one. And the kid's very happy that the mother's Jane. See, that Jane represents a healthy mother, the mother that should have been there. So she went to therapy, she got healthy, saw the two sides, dialogue with the two sides, held the two sides, and he got the third side of the coin. So Jane represents the third side of the coin. If you get the third side of the coin, that third side of the coin, what they call in fairy tales is it's not either or, it's both and. It's both and. When you get the both and, those either ors poof away, and you get the Jane that holds the both and. So it's not either or, like white or black, either or, and one doesn't know the other, right? It's like either or, it's splitting, right? It's multiple person. The Eve, white, and black was split, right? One was there, one wasn't there. It was always like either or. Jane represents the diamond holding all facets, healthy, embodied, reasonable, intelligent, accepts parts of herself. She could be sad, she could be angry, she could be assertive, she could be in touch with her feelings. She's broader, she's inclusive, she's calmer, she's got an ego, she can hold it all, she's reasonable. So Jane was the natural state of affairs. So the therapy brought this ego in, right? Now, no way, shape, or form did the film show how Jane could appear on the scene. All he saw was this pompous guy smoking a cigarette and making fun of Mr. Freud all the time. All he sees is smoke in the air like that. They were just making some side joke like this. 1 second. Maybe I'll let's pick a song here. Let's see. Shrinker Man. Shrinker Man. What about Shrinker Man? Shrinker Man. Now we played that already yesterday. Hang on, let's try another one. Do we have a song sort of on this topic? We played Constant Tourist yesterday. If you won't leave me, I'll find somebody. Well, it must be something psychological. Borderline Sandhurst. Dan McCafferty. 100 Tears Away. All the joy for which you praise, 100 Tears Away. Ain't Life a Brook. Rise, Catch a Epstein. Okay, let's play Vonda Shepard's song, 100 Tears Away. A song by Vonda Shepard. Take a little musical break here.
Just give in to the ocean. The only way to tame your fear, feel her rocking motion. You're a long way from somewhere you call home. Yeah. There's a place in your heart you're not alone. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, is closer than you think. It's just 100 tears away. Oh, go ahead and listen. Just give in to the voices. Think you're backed into a corner. Got so many choices. Well, you can't save all the hungry, no, the lonely, or the dying. Sometimes we just want to give up. Fools like us keep trying. You're a long way from some place you feel safe. Peace of mind comes from just one place. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, is closer than you think. It's just 100 tears away. Whatever it is that'll make you feel good. Have if you want to do this, you could. You can have it all, baby. You're a long way from somewhere you call home. There's a place in your heart you're not alone. All of the happiness you see, all of the joy for which you pray, is closer than you think. It's just a you say. All of the happiness you see, all the joy for which you pray, closer than you think. It's just 100 tears. Ooh, yeah.
Now, one aspect of this whole story was that idea that when we're unconscious, it's kind of like we're in a hypnosis kind of thing. So there's the pompous guy, the cigarette guy. Uh, so he created a trance with Eve. So he was able to tap into the psychology of how every baby is going to obey their mother. So he would hypnotize her, okay, and then created that link like that. So he can snap his fingers. He can say, "Okay, so Eve Black, can you make an appearance?" And there she is. All right, could Eve White make an appearance? And there she is. And flip it. Okay, come, flip it. He can just flip all easily like that. So that's like the hypnosis thing. And they showed him doing hypnosis. Okay, your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier. Okay, that kind. So he also played the hypnotist area. So that's the idea that when you're unconscious, you're kind of like you're in a hypnotic state. So it's a little bit like that. You're in a hypnotic state. When Jane came on the scene, tried to hypnotize Jane. Okay, bring up Eve White. Nothing. bring up Eve Black, nothing. So when you got your healthy mind, you won't be hypnotizable because you're an adult. You're not a child trying to please your mother. So the baby will dance to any tune the mother sings. So when a person's hypnotized, they do what the hypnotist wants. That's the unconscious force that the baby's going to do what the mother wants. So the hypnotized person will do what the hypnotizer wants. So the hypnotizer says, quack, okay, quack, you know, act like a duck, etc. So he was doing the hypnotism thing. So the point there was um, she's totally unconscious, and he would step into the missing parent, and then because she didn't have a good parent to relate to, but she needs to connect to a parent. So she's very hypnotizable, easily hypnotizable like that. But when the adult mind appeared, that you're good, you got yourself. No one's your mother that you got to please anymore, right? And he was like shouting, demanding, "Oh, come on, Jane, go away! I want one of the Eves to come back." Jane calmly said, "No, they're gone." Okay, so in conclusion, Jane represents the conscious mind, the adult mind, the mind that holds the two sides, the mind that recognized the trauma, the mind that felt and knew the story and felt what happened, knew what happened. One benefit of the hypnosis was it did help her remember the funeral thing when she was 5 years old. That seemed to be a key release like that. That was the most terrifying memory for her. We don't show you any memories prior to that. You know, Janoff would complain, yeah, what about the birth trauma memories? What about the pre-trauma memories? um, let's do today's quotes then. Um, it's a lighter batch today. We did some quotes from Celani recently. Here's another one by Celani. Okay, let's do it this way. Okay. Okay, the very notion that leaving your family is possible or desirable is almost a forbidden thought. Okay, we mean like leaving your childhood home in the mind. Like repetition compulsion is still in the past. You're still in the childhood. If you're repeating the trauma in the past and the present, you're still in the past. If you choose a parent copy, if you choose somebody in the present who reminds you of your mother or father, whichever one, and you recreate in the present a version of the past, new dish of the past, or you transfer the past to the present, see the present as the past, or transfer the past to the present, and recreate in the present a continuation of the past. You haven't left that kind of home, so it's hard to leave that kind of thing like that. It's considered betraying your mother. If the mother used the baby and said, "Baby, I need you. You got to take care of me and serve me. I can't meet your needs, but maybe you could meet my needs, okay, baby?" How does the baby leave that situation when they grow up? The very notion that leaving your family is possible or desirable is almost a forbidden thought. It goes against the grain of our human nature and of the values that we hold dear. However, it is the essential and self-preserving act that must be taken if we intend to lead a better life. Okay, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Or let's play we haven't played this one yet. Let's play the Bruce Springsteen introduction. Where's that? Yeah, here, this one. Bruce Springsteen, Independence Day, Toronto. Fathers and sons, fathers and sons, fathers and sons. Independence Day. Fathers and sons, fathers and sons, fathers and sons. Independence Day was the first song I wrote about fathers and sons. It's the kind of song you write when you're young and you're first startled by your parents' humanity. You're shocked to realize that they had their own dreams and their own desires, their own hopes that maybe didn't pan out.
exactly the way they have liked. And all you can see are the adult compromises that they had to make, and you're still too young to take notice of the blessings that some of those compromises brought. And all you can see is the world that they seem locked into, and all you can feel is your desire to escape. Well, I had a simple saying for this song. It was just a late night conversation around the kitchen table between two people struggling to understand one another.
So he said as a teenager, he wrote that song about physical dependence, leaving the dysfunctional home, like physically. But the home in your mind follows you everywhere you go, no matter so, no matter which continent he goes to, which city he goes to, the template, the imprint, the family, the couple imprint, him and that relationship with the parents, that those memories follow him wherever he goes. He's not free like that. He wants freedom, independence from that. So then in this version here, a few years ago in Toronto, he updated that song talking about emotional independence day, leaving your mother's house, leaving your father's house emotionally like that. Then you can be the adult in the present. He's talking like that. So you can physically leave your dysfunctional home, but that dysfunctional home in your mind will faithfully follow you wherever you go, kind of thing, and you recreate it. Um, so he says the way out of that, the way he achieved this emotional freedom or emotional independence day from that memories was first, be startled. Let yourself be startled that your parents are people with hopes and dreams, just people, ordinary people. See your parents as people. And how did your parents relate between themselves as people, like adults, like as persons? So see your parents as people, wounded, traumatized, relating in a certain way. Uh, so number one, see them as people like that. Um, now, um, so you're going to see various things about that. The mother would have loved the baby if she could have, but she was impaired, so she didn't. Despite the fact that she couldn't, she still maybe did some nice things, but the reality is psychologically she couldn't. A little ambivalence like that. Then you get your Independence Day when you do the diamond thing, the facets. Okay, look for the third side of the coin that holds the two sides. It's not either or. Mother's not a goddess or demon. Father's not a goddess or demon. They're wounded, they're crying for love, they're in pain, they want to blow off steam, they don't know what to do, they're confused, they weren't nurtured themselves. Still, they're doing their best, but they're wounded. Everyone loves or cries for love. Three-dimensional, try to understand. Yeah, back to three faces of Eve. She said a very, I think a key point was, yeah, okay, a key point in that one, in the terms of healing and understanding was when the Jane mind came on the scene. She just calmly kind of said, my parents did this cruel thing to me and they traumatized me. They didn't really mean to do it. It's just they bought some old ancient superstitious thing, and they thought and they believed it would have helped me. They didn't, they were blind that they were hurting me by doing this, but they kind of meant on their end that it would be helpful to me. Um, and But they're impaired and they're wounded themselves, and they're pinned. They have the pin in the collar. They don't feel. They don't have ethics and morality and feelings. They don't have empathy and feelings for me because they're traumatized. But they thought, because they picked up some idea, maybe it'd be helpful for me to admit that the grandmother's dead and all this, and I have to say her goodbye. Um, or maybe um, or maybe they're trying to know, or maybe they want to traumatize me because they don't remember that they were traumatized. So they wouldn't do that if they weren't traumatized. So they're trying to know they were traumatized. They were traumatized, so they traumatized me to help them remember that they were traumatized. It's disturbed like this. They didn't mean to do it. They're just trying to know that they were traumatized. So they're trying to remember that they were traumatized, and the way they were trying to remember it is to recreate it so they can see it, so they make the inference, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Why am I traumatizing my kid, they might say. Does that mean my mother traumatized me and I'm repeating it so I can know my mother traumatized me? So maybe the mother was trying to know that she was traumatized me, and she needed to traumatize me so she can find that out for herself. So it's a little complex like that. So she's trying to know and remember that she was traumatized. So she had to traumatize me, she says. So Jane kind of had that broader perspective, a little understanding like that. And then you have emotional freedom. You can emancipate yourself from emotional slavery, says Bob Marley. I don't play that song because of the copyright thing. That introductory clip's okay. Yeah, that's one of the best introductions to a song I've ever heard. I think so. Look up Toronto, Independence Day, Bruce Springsteen. I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. It's the only one there. Now you don't see everything. The guy who filmed it was way up in the rafters. Everything's dark. You don't see anything, but you can hear the audio fairly clearly. Play it again.
Fathers and sons, fathers and sons, fathers and sons. Independence Day was the first song I wrote about fathers and sons. It's the kind of song you write when you're young and you're.
Yeah. By the way, it's a lot of this issue. A lot of this issue is that we transfer the problem to the mother, to the father, and think it's about the father. It's about the mother. It's called transfers. So it's Independence Day from the mother. That the father can't do what the mother's supposed to do. The trauma's with the mother, but people protect the mother because they got to have some delusion that there's a mother help loving them. So, but the anger towards the mother, they put it onto the father, kind of like a splitting thing. Displace it on, I'm going to be free from the father like that. The criticism towards the father is mainly that he didn't protect you from the abusive mother. So that's a milder thing. The real issue is with the mother, but culture doesn't do that, right? Culture says mother knows best. And, even in the Carol Burnett show, you see her making it all about her. Mother knows best. I told you not to marry him. I told you he'd hurt you. Um, so there you go again, making it all about you. Uh, telling me in this most painful moment um, that that you were right and I was wrong. And what timing? You make it all about you. And she's, that's right. I'm going to hurt you because you didn't respect me. I told you. You didn't listen to me. You didn't listen to me. So when I'm down, you kick me on. That's right. You're down, and I kick you when you're down because you didn't listen to me. No one respects me. I want respect. That was her mantra throughout that episode. No one, she always wanted her code term for narcissistic supply was respect. Give me respect. Give me respect. But really, what she was talking about, make me the center. I'm the baby. Feed me, make me the center. I'm the title. Look at me, feed me, feed me. So this mother turned everybody into symbolic mother to feed her like that. Everybody was a symbolic breast. She wants to suck dry, and she needs a constant supply like that. And if any moment someone doesn't do that supply, she's enraged. Uh, because the source point is the baby thinks the breast is his possession and it's a thing. It's called part object relating. It's a thing like that, and he owns it and it belongs to him. So if the mother has this psychology, everyone is symbolic breast that she owns, she's entitled, and if someone doesn't respond, she's enraged like this. So she will use the guilt trip tactic of the respect slogan. You got to respect me like this. But she means give me supply, treat me like a baby. You be the missing breast and feed me, see me, make me the center, make me important. Because if I don't get supply, she's as if she could say, if I don't get narcissistic supply, I would feel what any baby would feel if you had no mother. So I demand a supply because the baby's got a force to get mother's attention like that. Oh, I think it's gone. I think I haven't seen the Inside Out 2 ads. It was on for several months. It's gone now. I got some guests. Okay, I'll ease up on the music part. Yeah, I was looking forward to going to the outdoor part. To my surprise, I could talk with all that noise in the background. When you play that video back, it's just muffled. It's quieted. So the camera has this ability to blot out the background noises to maintain the main speaking voice. Interesting. Whereas with the traditional phone, um, it, it it actually almost did the opposite. If there were background noises, you'd hear that almost louder than my speaking in front of the camera. That's why I'm very surprised about this phone. So I'm learning new things about this budget phone. Maybe it's not so bad after all. Okay, let's go back to the Celani quote here. The very notion that leaving your um, the loyalty to trying to win your mother's love or save your mother, fix your mother, cure your mother. Don't be happy because that's betraying her and she feels alone. So, okay. So part of this is part of this issue is that the mother says to the baby, "Baby, I can't meet your needs. First, you meet my needs. It's impossible." So the child will be unhappy, spending his life trying to be loyal to the mother, and that loyalty um, is demonstrated when they don't show initiative or autonomy. So how do you leave that? Well, in general, this notion of being independent psychologically from your family is kind of forbidden, right? However, we need to do this if we're going to be happy. The simple and plain truth is that if a parent or a parent copy when you grow up, okay, that's called transfer. So if somebody reminds you of parents, and you transfer the parent to the person of the present, see the person of the present as an emotional reincarnation of your mother in the past, called transference love. So you have unfinished business with the mother, unresolved issues with the mother. Your time is there, so find someone who reminds you of her, and you continue that battle with her, with the person of the present, with the person in the present standing in for her in the past. So either one, if the parent or the parent copy, the partner, uh, has not expressed freely um, love after whatever 5, 10, 15 years even, then forget it. Love is not available for that person. If your mother wasn't loving during her whatever 20 up until high school, forget it. It's not going to change. That's her psychic structure. The psychic structure for a mother to love her baby is that she has a differentiation. She has an identity. She only gets this identity if she was loved and felt safe with her mother to feel safe enough in the first 4 to 5 months to hatch out of the egg. If there's no egg, how can she be herself? How do you have a birth if you psychological birth if there's no psychological egg? So the mother didn't get that egg. There's not going to be no birth. So you need the birth to love. Like who loves? A person loves. But there's no person there if there's no egg for that birth. Yes, she's biologically born. We're talking about psychological birth. Okay, well, where are we here? Many parents, for whatever reason, simply could not do the job of parenting um, that they took on. Oh, but they are absolute masters of self deception. They are absolutely blind to the reality that they are responsible for impeding their child's development. Yeah, that was the message. Go to our Twilight Zone quote 29, 23, I think it is the first one. One life furnished in poverty. I don't have it here. Look up 29. Look up 29, 23, or better yet, just watch the episode. Twilight Zone, One Life Furnished in Emotional Poverty. The closing narration, it was sort of like that. It's a time travel thing. The guy's miserable, goes back to his childhood, sees what his childhood was like, and then um, realizes he got a more clarity about his childhood when he time traveled like that. So the closing narration was, geez, you're still trying to win love from these dysfunctional people, and you're still trying to please her, and she hurt you, and you're still trying to save her. You're going to rebel against her your whole life. Geez, you decided these things. If you decided these things, then you're kind of like the master of your own fate like that. Can you see this truth? Can you see that you decided these things? Therefore, you're the master of your fate. You're going to decide your life like that. That's a kind of a secret like that. And if you can appreciate that, well, then you can be free from this useless burden, dead cargo from the Twilight Zone. So The line, the first line of the closing narration was, "It's rather bittersweet how we spend our lives trying to win love from these voices, from parents from another era, from decades ago." You're trying to win love from a ghost voice from your parents who are no longer around. They might be gone. Okay, let's say they are alive. Let's say the parents are still alive. And let's say you call them or visit them or something. Would they tell you? Would the mother say that she used you as a baby so she could find herself? That she parentified you? That she wanted to get her needs met using you to comfort her? Would she tell you this kind of stuff? Impossible. Forget it. Forget it. Um, it's embedded in with narcissism that they cannot tell you the truth. They cannot feel the truth. They want supply. They're entitled. It's all about them. To question that, um, and to want something from them, that's shocking because you're there to serve them, and you want them to give you something like the truth. They can't do it. They can't tell the truth, and they can't give. They just want to be supply. So it's not going to work, right? Robert Bly, in the fairy tale, is called getting the key out from under mother's pillow. So the soul was trapped. It was in a cage. You needed a key. The key was out from mother's pillow. So Anne Sexton has a line there. "I made you to find me." So one mother did offer the key. "I'm sorry, daughter. I didn't know my identity. I actually had you so I could control you, so I could possess you, and I'd feel safe, and I'd make you a secure base. I'd make you the mother for me, and with you as my secure base, I could find myself. I'm sorry I didn't meet your needs." So she was kind of helping like that. But usually speaking, forget it. It's not going to happen. Okay, so let's say your parents are not around anymore, and you go back in the time machine, which is what the show is about, and you could see it all. Well, you decided certain things, so you're the master of your fate like that. They are absolutely blind to the reality that they are responsible for impeding their child's development. They have no clue. They have no clue, right? So back to Three Faces of Eve. That mother who tortured her daughter like that, she was screaming, screeching like that. Please don't make me do this. She doesn't feel that she's doing anything wrong. She feels justified. She's in the right. Self centered and self righteous parents get their sureness from rigid and absolute views of themselves. This rigidity in their personality structure also prevents them from being sensitive to the needs of others, as all their psychological energy is focused on meeting their own needs. Winning an argument with this type of opponent is simply impossible. Okay, so this thing with Eunice, the character, so all this arguing and fighting with the mother, she's never going to win. She'll never get the mother to apologize, confess, because the mother has a psychic structure where she's demanding supply. The daughter's saying, "Look, I'm your child who needs your love." She's clueless. You got to supply her. So forget it. The temptation to try to explain yourself to your parents must be avoided, since embedded within your efforts lies the false assumption that they are able to respond to reason and logic. No, if they don't have the beingness, they're not going to respond to reason or logic. Right? If they don't have the Jane mind, the adult mind, the ark, the Noah's ark, Robert Bly calls the Jane mind or the conscious ego, the adult ego, the Noah's ark one. Mr. Noah had to build the ark. That's a metaphor for building that conscious mind so you don't get flooded in the unconscious. If you're operating from an unconscious place, that's the childhood trauma place, you don't have the adult mind. So forget about reason or logic. So all these arguments in these dysfunctional families, mother, my life is destroyed here, and you're taking center stage and blaming me and criticizing me, and you're complaining like this. You make it all about you. Don't you think it's unreasonable like that? Don't you think I might be in pain and I kind of need a little support here? Um, it doesn't make sense, right? Or she's an adult child. The mother, that mother is an adult child. The adult child presents the picture of a needy child in an adult body. Yeah, so that mother, most of these mothers in sitcoms, they're Needy children, demanding, screaming, needy children, shouting, aggressive, violent in their tone. Without intervention, these children will tend to become either addicts or marry addicts or otherwise bond to persons who enable them to carry on their child's quest. Oh yeah, so Eunice in that case, she's enabling the mother. She's feeding this disease. She's feeding. She's the famous enabler. So she's kind of feeding this kind of thing. So the mother can carry on her childlike quest to get narcissistic supply. Um, okay, what's the next one? Emotional eating is most always triggered by events or chronic life situations that remind us of our unmet childhood needs. Okay, enter the ersatz self objects. So in the jargon, the breast for the baby is a self object. Written as one word, self object, written as one word, baby mother as one. Dual unity, symbiosis, merging, fusion, baby mother are one like this. If the baby didn't get the mother, the self object, the breast mother, baby didn't get that. Okay, there's a gap there, right? That's a trauma. It's frozen. He needs it all the time, looking for supply, supply, supply. So what's gonna fill in for that later in life? Well, cookies, cigarettes, or addictive like gambling or addictive activities. So it can be, he calls it ATMs, addictive trigger mechanisms, i.e., ersatz or fake ersatz self objects. Fill in something. Obviously, it's not the breast in the past. Obviously, it's impossible, but put something in there. The function is that it's just going to be a trick. And what the cigarette or the cookies do, okay, is create some kind of chemistry in your brain to stimulate and provoke up fantasies. Okay, now you want to get the fantasies going to the point where there's enough pain where you regress to the old ancient art fantasies that once upon a time, in the good old days in the uterus, you're a king and a god, right? So that's like a magic wand, like that. You take the cigarette, it's stands in for the missing breast, okay, but it's it the trick is you're trying to get what you're supposed to get. If you had the breast, if the baby had the breast, he'd be in a blissful heavenly place, right? He'd still be in that blissful continuous place of paradise, Garden of Eden, Shambhala, etc. Well, just so, well, all of a sudden there's a traffic jam here. Oh, not really. Oh, okay. All of the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away. Okay, we did some videos on the work of Ullman and Paul from their book called Narcissus in Wonderland. Um, so that's their theory, based on so-called self-psychology, Mr. Kohat. We don't really have quotes from Mr. Kohat here. Try not to get people in the camera. Um, so their point is, don't think about cigarettes and food as self-medication or alcohol. Yeah, alcohol is the main one. Alcohol as self-medication or gambling as self-medication. Don't think about like self-medicating. That's the common, usual idea. Roger Gould calls eating a food trance. They say think of it more as a trance, as a hypnoid state, as self hypnosis. Not self medication, it's self hypnosis. You want to hypnotize yourself, like that fake shrink in the film. You want to hypnotize yourself that you're a little god. How do you do that? Well, create pain in the brain. The pain makes you regress to the good old days called pathological nostalgia. As a defense against the pain, you go back to take refuge in the old safe place where you were a king and a god in the uterus. So you want to blip up those fantasies that you had once upon a time. Then you get the serotonin. Okay? So then you get the serotonin to safety, as if the baby got the serotonin from mother's love. So you can't get mother's love in the past because you don't have the neural wiring So you do a trick with the chemistry, alcohol, concentrated sugar, nicotine, tar, whatever it is, um, repeating the pain. Okay, masochistic bond to the mother, just symbolically recreating the disappointment. Just do something that triggers up the fantasies that you were safe in the uterus, and then you get the serotonin. So then you go back and say, oh, that thing was a substitute breast, or ersatz self object, or addictive trigger mechanism. So all of these addictive things, of course, it's from trauma. Of course, it's from trauma. Anybody who's addicted, there's a trauma undercore to it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be addicted or something. Even like emotional eating, smoking, drinking, same idea. All the knowledge I possess, everyone else can acquire, but my heart is all my own. Everyone hears only what he understands. Oh, Goethe, Goethe. These two are from Goethe. All right. Everyone hears only what he understands. That's the filtering, right? There can be no knowledge without emotion. We may be aware of a truth, yet until we have felt its force, it's not ours. To the cognition of the brain must be added the experience of the soul, emotional knowing, emotional knowing. Love is not about losing oneself in another, but about standing and preserving our individuality, our integrity. Love is not a passive falling for, but an active standing with. The reasons why we fall in love will not necessarily be the reasons why we stay in love. Love at second sight. I've learned that no matter how exciting the relationship is at first, the passion fades, and there had better be something else to take its place. So love begins at second sight, not at first sight. She makes a joke. If we know love is blind, why do we believe in love at first sight? Love at first sight, but you know love is blind. First sight is blind. Why do you believe it if you know love is blind? So that's recreating the past because it's unresolved, and you're all excited, and you feel a blissful feeling that you forgot. So the baby and the mother are in a blissful state, and you find somebody that triggers that, so you get the blissful feeling, transfer that feeling to the person present. That's love at first sight, transfers love, infatuation, puppy love, spellbound, love trance. Okay. So that person in the present who reminds you of the mother in the past is a catalyst or a stimulus or a symbol to flare up, to blip up the feelings. It just triggers up the feelings because it's unresolved, and you think you're there now. You think you're in the past now. So you transfer the past to the present, and you're spellbound to the person in the present, called love at first sight, like that. It's blind because it's the past. Once you withdraw that and get to know them for who they are, then at this second sight, then love begins at the second sight, not the first sight. Where are we here? The unconscious matching of wounds. We each have a wound or two, and since partners are matched by unconscious forces or by random choice, sooner or later these wounds will show themselves in the couple relationship. Wounds are really about wants and unmet needs. Each child's inner each client's inner child realized that unmet childhood needs cannot be transferred as expectations into adult relationships. Each client's inner child realized that unmet childhood needs could not be transferred as expectations into adult relationships. It was important that each client understand their parents as the adult human beings they were then and accept that these two people did not, could not, or would not meet their childhood needs ever. See your parents as the adult people they were to each other, not as the parents they were to you. Okay, so back to Bruce Springsteen, Independence Day. You didn't get it. You're not going to get it. Somebody just like a copy of your mother. They're not going to give it to you if they're a copy of your mother. Your mother. But we have this stubborn, unreal hope. We have this constant hope. What are we doing here? Problem is, there's no real park or any place to go out on the outside, and I think I might have to leave this place soon. But I could just walk around freely, right? Just walk on the. Actually, I don't usually walk on the other side of the road, so maybe I can do that. Where are we here? Let's see. Okay, definitely a lighter load here. Let's see. Did I miss anything? Leaders who seek power and status because of unsurfaced desires for unmet childhood needs cannot be relied upon to make sane, rational decisions that are in the common good. Well, that's obvious, right? So you don't want. But that's Robert Bly's theory. We are in sibling society. We kind of are in sibling society. Plundering the planet for a quick buck. That's an infantile thing to do, right? Oh, we played it yesterday. Should we play it again? Yeah, let's play it again. I'm gonna play you a clip, 10-minute clip. It's sort of an environmental, half comedy, half drama, half therapy, half theater, performance kind of thing, done in the 80s, way back in the 80s. A speech called Ooh My Soul by Kirsten Wilson. She's a drama, she runs her own drama studio or something in Boulder, Colorado or something. So it's there's only one copy. There's only one copy of this speech around. It's on a website called radioforall.net. But you got to fish around, search around. It's from a radio program called Gleanings of the Earth episode, Earth, Air, Fire, Water, 30-minute episode. And within that episode, there's the 10-minute speech of hers. And even the sponsors of the conference, she's speaking to a live audience. I looked up the so-called pioneers. Is that right, pioneers? Promoting the environment, telling you it's not nice to dump 10 billion tons of plastic into the ocean. Just that kind of common sense things. Even they don't have her speech. So there's only one copy of her speech. It's from this archive thing, Radio for All people. So let's play it. I played it yesterday. I'm not sure the audio was okay. So let's see if I can get a better. Since I'm in this nice quiet room, let's get a nice copy of this. Okay, just give me a half a minute to cue it up here. Hold a sec.
And is down to some kind of new potential that if
Here we go. Kirsten Wilson.
what must, if we shall succeed, be a spiritual revolution. An evolution from Homo sapiens sapien, revealingly redundant, to Homo economicus, well put, Matt Oschliger, to Homo naturalis.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Hang on a sec. Let me double check. There's nobody beside me. Okay. Well, if there's a meeting beside me, I don't want to play the thing. Okay, so we're okay. Let's back up again. My favorite line in the speech is, if you're not in your body, you're not making sense. Literally, and it's disembodied discourse that causes all these problems. That's sort of the key line, I think. And so if you have your beingness, you have your golden ball, you're ethical, you're moral, you're virtuous. That's the normal state of affairs. You have your beingness made in king. If you have your beingness as the feminine principle, the feminine element, the beingness, the king is the metaphor for the masculine, which is a metaphor for the yang, which is a metaphor for the doing. Okay, so if you have your beingness, from the beingness, you're doing, from the beingness based, you're doing, that's beingness based, the doing, that's like heart based doing, okay, heart informed doing. Your doing is ethical and heart based, paths with heart. If you don't have your beingness, okay, then whatever you're doing, it's whacked, it's distorted, it's infantile rage, it's showing up the mother, protesting against the mother, treating others how mother treated you, to tell the world how mother treated you, this constant protest, or still with this relentless hope that maybe one day a pint of ice cream will be mother's love in the past, or repeating the past, maybe you'll change the past, still in the past, still loyal to the mother, still trying to save her, please her, fix her, try to get love from her, try to change her. Doesn't make sense. So you're dysfunctional like that. Yeah, somebody said about the Carol Burnett show, they take, it's a dysfunctional stuff, but they try to take the fun, in the word dysfunctional, the word fun is embedded in the word dysfunctional. So they show you they show you dysfunctional families in a fun way or something. The fun and the dysfunctional, something like that. No, they show you dysfunctional families. They take the fun, the F-U-N in the word dysfunctional, and show the dysfunctional families in a fun way. That's what he meant, yeah. So that's the key line. So back to her speech. If you're not in your body, you're not making sense. And the conclusion was, if we get our feelings, our doing will be okay. Then everything's okay. The goal is to get back your feelings. The goal is to get back your beingness, and your feelings are with your beingness. Then everything's okay. Then whatever you're going to do, it's going to be ethical and moral and virtuous. If you don't have your feelings, if you don't have your beings, okay, if you don't have that adult mind, the Jane mind, if you don't have that Jane mind, the reasonable, conscious adult mind, and you're flooded with the past survival memories of battling with your mother, whom you see as a monster. So you're going to be my greed, she's going to eat me, or I got to be greedy, or she's going to eat me either. So you got to get out of this jungle slogan thinking, adversarial thinking, oppositional thinking, either or thinking, black or white thinking. Yeah, Eve white, Eve black. You got to get beyond. You got to get beyond Eve white, Eve black thinking and get to the Jane thinking. You got to get the middle. The middle holds the other two sides. It's a both and. Jane is the both and thinking, the natural, reasonable thinking, and the daughter loved Jane, hated the other two, right? Well, let me cue this up here. Hold on a sec. Another. It's hard to get this thing.
Takes everyone is down to some kind of new potential that.
Okay, here we go.
She will take care of us.
Okay, now just forgive her for there's one little language moment. Let's forgive her for the one little thing she said. She said, oh yeah, if destroying the planet's reasonable, then please make me somebody who wouldn't understand such a thing. So let's forgive her for, it's in the 80s, so maybe now we wouldn't say what she said in that particular moment. But the rest of the speech is good. The rest of the speech is all pretty good. Just that one little thing she said. So let's forgive her for that. Okay, Oh My Soul by Kirsten Wilson.
The earth is our mother. Brothers and sisters, we are gathered here to discuss what must, if we shall succeed, be a spiritual revolution. An evolution from Homo sapiens sapien, revealingly redundant, to Homo economicus, well put, Max Oschliger, to Homo naturalis. I will proceed directly to the heart of my sermon, which, for the sake of revolutionary gender reclamation, I drop the sir and add a ma'am, making this not a sermon, but a mammon. Yes, Buchanan, I said mammon, which speaks to the natural and pantheistic instead of the mechanical and sadistic. We are talking about exchanging biopornography for biophilia. Pornography. That is the structure of domination which has replaced English as our national language. Everything translated into what I can possibly control or consume without being touched, changed, challenged, or connected. A language which transforms women into meat, animals into meat products, poor men into machines, and rich men into gods. But in their attempts to become gods, they have lost their souls. We all have. That is why I am up here preaching my mammon. God did not throw us out of Eden. Brothers and sisters, we are throwing ourselves out every industrious day. That apple Eve ate was good. Sweet. But what about the apples now with their red, shiny pesticidal coverings, Satan in the shape of Monsanto? But it's okay. I can afford organic. I am single, white, educated. I don't have children to feed. There will be poor with us always. Let them eat the pesticide-riddled fruit. Ha! Joke, riddle, on us. Genocide continues. Organic for the rich, toxic, tap water for the poor. We have a lot of work to do if this re-evolution is really going to happen and save us. So, let us talk about salvation. And I do not mean a peach smoothie and a massage. I am talking about saving this planet and the people with it. How will we be saved? The environmental catastrophe appears overwhelming. We are afraid we cannot think our way out of this mess. Of course not. We must feel our way out. We must learn to listen with our hearts and our hands. If you are not in your body, you are not making sense. Literally. It is disembodied discourses that have got us into this crisis. We have worshipped the false gods of logic, progress, productivity, practicality. If destroying the earth for short-sighted economic profit is intelligent, reasonable, then please, God, make me a moron. This is a spiritual revolution about finding our ways back to the land, finding ways to be fed, spiritually fed. And it is not easy. I know. I myself have strategized on ways to make my plans fit their pathology. I have walked through the shadow of political expedience. Once I had a campaign I thought I'd do this whole campaign about changing the environmental reference to this earth, from Mother Earth to Father Planet. Yeah. You see, I read all those, those bumper stickers that were out, those with the green earth globes that said, "Love your mother." And I despaired. I knew there was no hope. And I'm not even referring to the irony of having pro-planet language on the back of a car. Hallelujah. I am referring to the slogan, "Love your mother." It won't work. What? America hates its mothers. I thought of Mother's Day and the men who give the mother of their children sentimental harlequin cards, then beat, rape, and silence them the other 364 days. No, I thought. No wonder we have an environmental crisis if we treat the earth the way we treat our mothers. Ooh, we think mothers are made to be exploited. They are supposed to give and ask nothing in return. They are supposed to have infinite resources. All good mothers are willing to be drained, damned, and depleted for their children. Mothers live for their baby's feeding schedule, and there is always a little milk left for Exxon Texaco International Paper in the U.S. military. I thought, but if nature was perceived as male, then maybe everything would be different. Think about it. It might not be nice to fool Mother Nature, but if you mess with Father Planet, he'll beat the shit out of you. Hail, hurricane, and all. Yeah, and then maybe environmentalists would get the respect they deserve. No longer mamas, boys, and girls. Maybe they would be treated like real men and the real women who love real men. A name changed to Father Planet is not enough. Fathers and mothers, we both need to be saved if this planet is going to survive. The environmental crisis points to a total ideological and spiritual crisis. Including the earth in the economic equation is not enough. We are destroying the earth for reasons that are bigger than economics. You see, we are afraid of death. We are afraid of this earth, this nature that will bring us back to dust. We are afraid of the dust and the dirt that will claim us, or the waters that we came from, and thus afraid of women's bodies, the bridges by which we walk this earth. An intellectual atheist, performance artist in spiritual crisis wrote this sermon. Because this revolution is about a religion in one of its original meanings, re-linking, reconnecting. The lives of women raped and murdered daily are fought in this struggle. The lives of indigenous peoples are fought in this struggle. The men and women lost in the empty addiction of power, these infantile gods, will grow into their souls if we win. We must win. If the pioneers had a manifest destiny to colonize, control, and consume, then the pioneers should have a manifest destiny to decolonize, create, and commune. But this must be a spiritual re-evolution, not just the environment, separate and distinct from its home and all and everything. You see, if this is a spiritual re-evolution, if we get to feel as we fight, if we just get to feel as we fight, then we have already won. Amen. a women, a planet, our soul.
Yeah, the bit about the bumper sticker is if the memory, if there's an unconscious anger towards the mother, we transfer, okay, we displace, we disperse. It's too intense, so it's dispersed onto the planet, mother planet, or something. So if we unconsciously are angry at our mothers or hate our mothers unconsciously for what she did, not meet our needs, terrorize us, made us feel that she's a monster trying to eat us, we're very angry at this. So we may see the planet as a projection, or we transfer the image of the mother like that onto the planet and fight with the planet, want to control the planet the way the baby wanted to control the mother. Stop hurting me, mother. Be nice. Let me control you. So we're trying to control the planet, but um, it's neurotic. It doesn't make sense. Right? The planet isn't your mother in the nursery who hurt you. The planet's not like that, right? That's you don't have your adult mind, the Jane mind. You don't have your adult conscious mind. Um, and then you also, since you didn't differentiate from your mother, you think everything and everybody's kind of like you. Okay, you felt no good and mother's dangerous. Well, everyone on the planet's no good and dangerous. Okay, and due to repetition compulsion, you repeat onto the planet what had happened to you. So the mother planet, okay, hurt you, you became her, you hurt yourself. So you make the Faustian deal. The planet's you. Okay, so you hurt the planet the way your mother hurt you, and then flip flop, hocus pocus at the same time on another level, double think, double focus, flip flop. As you shame the planet, you think the planet is your mother hurting you, and now you're angry at the planet. So we're not making sense like this. So you can't say, "Oh, love Mother Earth," because if you anything, any reference to the Earth in family terms, like she said, "Oh, father planet." What about father planet? You're not going to respect your father. The father didn't protect you from your mother, so you don't respect your father. It's not going to work. Well, what about grandmother, sweet grandmother? Same stuff. What about the one you love? Same. You cannot transfer any kind of personal relations onto the planet like that. Only people who are loved can do it. Indigenous people maintain traditional child rearing methods, so they it's okay with them. It's okay. I mean, it's okay like that. If the mother loved you, you can transfer the planet Earth as being a loving mother, and you respect your mother because if you can respect your mother because mother loved you, you'll respect her. So you can transfer that onto the planet, and you can say Mother Earth loves you, and we love Mother Earth. It's a natural thing. That's the way it's been for billions, millions of years, like that. Whatever. Only 10,000 years ago, we lost our path, kind of thing, with the mismanagement of our discoveries. And then we, in our panic, we removed the baby, traumatized the baby, so they would think that some entity robbed them. They'd become the robber. Now we enter into pillage mode. So now we plunder the planet because mother plundered us. The plundering on the outside is a reflection of the inner state. So if mother um, shamed us, well, we shamed the planet because that's a reflection that mother shamed us. So this can look like pollution. If we pollute the planet, well, mother polluted us. Mother didn't give us the proper food. Well, we deprived the planet of the food because mother deprived us. Okay, mother didn't, so on and so forth. As above, so below. Her bit about the one about we're afraid of the earth and all this. We're afraid of. That's kind of like there is this. Um, if the baby didn't get the oneness of the mother, that's like the fusion. We're afraid of that. We can't go back to that, but we need it because we didn't get it. But we can't go back to that. So there's this conflict like this. You can't go back to the oneness of the mother. Um, so in your anger at that, you might wreck the, you might be destructive because you don't want to go back to the mother, but you need the mother, but you're destructive like that. That's part of one of her theories, I think. Um, Another funny line is, okay, let's talk about salvation, people. Now, you pampered audience members here, I don't mean a peach smoothie and a massage. We're okay here? Oh, hold on a second. What's this? Is that a staff meeting? Oh, Jesus. Oh. Okay, no more music. There's a staff meeting just beside there. Jesus. They started after the music. Okay, that's okay then. How are we doing here? 3, 4 o'clock? Um, Actually, I wouldn't. Yeah, maybe I can. Maybe lower the volume and let me just see if there's other parts about it, parts of that speech. Hold on a sec. Where is it? Where is it again? Yeah, let's run through some of the parts of the speech here. With every step we take, the sacred ground we walk upon. With every step we take. Hey, Anna, oh, Anna, hey, Anna. Hey, Anna, oh, Anna, hey, Anna. Okay, or the first part of the mammon. So instead of a sermon, she calls it a mammon, like madam, just to balance the scales. Because one theory is if there's prejudice against women, um, that's a template. There'll be prejudice against others in the planet, including them. So if they treat the women better, that could be a template that will treat everybody better. Uh, One guy thinks your attitude towards your mother, it's kind of like code for, or women, the opposite gender. It's kind of like how you think about everything, because everything's the mother. So the mother is the prototype for what you got to think about the world, like that. So yeah, so if you have a healthy relationship with women, um, that can be a template that you'll have a healthy relationship generally. But the attitude with women is set down by the mother like that. She will take care of us. The earth is our mother. She will take care of us. Oh, and yeah, even the introductory song there, "The Earth is Our Mother." So that's see, indigenous people will sing that. That's probably an indigenous song. But really, but anybody who's traumatized by their mother, they'll hate that song. Oh, they'll be angry at such a song. Don't insult me and patronize me with this huge lie. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? Indigenous people are shaking their heads. What are you talking about? Beautiful Earth gives us all this delicious food. Took billions of years for all this evolution. Let's have some evolutionary gratitude like this. Well, if you're talking about my mother, what she did to me, I don't have gratitude.
Brothers and sisters, we are gathered here to discuss what must, if we shall succeed, be a spiritual revolution. An evolution from Homo sapiens sapien, revealingly redundant.
Yeah, so homo naturalis. So we had a natural beingness. We had the feminine principle. The feminine principle was around for in the beginning, as it always was. The shift, the traumatic state, we became from Homo sapiens sapiens to Homo sapien traumicus. She calls it Homo economicus, Homo short sellicus, Homo secret psychoticus, Homo dysfunctionalicus, Homo anxieticus, whatever you want to call it. So we want to get back our natural state, just like a person, just like any person who's traumatized, lost their soul, want to get it back. Well, same thing with all of us. We want to get back ourselves as Homo naturalis.
De homo economicus, well put, Matt Oschliger. De homo naturalis. I will proceed directly to the heart of my sermon, which, for the sake of revolutionary gender reclamation, I drop the sir and add a ma'am, making this not a sermon, but a mammon. Yes, Buchanan, I said mammon, which speaks to the natural and pantheistic instead of the mechanical and sadistic.
So the feminine principle, so she calls it a mammon. Well, let's make it a feminine principle based. If the feminine principle, the feeling self, is missing, you're not making sense anymore. The freezing parent is also called a sadistic parent.
Talking about exchanging biopornography for biophilia.
Yeah, biophilia, study books, read books, right? Read a quote, and who's the author, and follow up like that, right?
Pornography. That is the structure of domination which has replaced English as our national language. Everything translated into what I can possibly control or consume without being touched, changed, challenged, or connected.
Yeah, so instead of the greed is consume, greed, because we don't have our feelings. Greed and envy, that's a sign of the trauma. That's the negative patriarchy. The greed, consume, pillage and plunder, greed, consume. And this endless, infinite, timeless loop. Some people say that's progress. Really? That this infantile driven repetition compulsion leads to progress because you invent stuff. But so the question mark like that, right?
Language which
That quote's in yesterday's video about that one. Yesterday.
women into meat, animals into meat products, poor men into machines, and rich men into gods. But in their attempts to become gods, they have lost their soul.
Okay, she means infantile megalomania. All babies think they're gods, right? All baby thinks they're infantile megalomania, the megalomaniacal self. Okay, so if there's trauma like that, and people take refuge in that, then all their energy is this immense sense of entitlement to be greedy. If they can't get it, they're envious, be greedy. So that's the infantile god like that. And this psychology is the push to pillage and plunder like that. Plunder the planet. Okay, how do you plunder the planet? Well, they feel emotional poverty. Well, you reflect that. You treat others the way you were treated. So they were driven like this. Compulsion to get mother's love.
That is why I am up here preaching my mammon. God did not throw us out of Eden. Brothers and sisters, we are throwing ourselves out every industrious day.
Yeah, so every day we're destroying the food, right? Talk about the food, right? Every day um, we're doing it ourselves day by day, right? Um, so we're more and more natural food is disappearing, and more Franken food is appearing, and now they're announcing that homes will have in the future in Star Trek those food replicators. They're 3D printing machines. So your home will have a printing machine, and there'll be cell like animal cells or something, and it can microwave and heat up, accelerate the cells of the animal or something. So now you got like this machine microwave cells to grow the animal cells. Throw lots of chemicals in them to what a disturbed thing. So we're throwing ourselves out of Eden. I mean, we're throwing ourselves out of the natural food state day by day.
Apple Eve ate was good. Sweet. But what about the apples now with their...
Yeah, when was the last time anyone had a really a juicy peach or a delicious pear? Come on, you know.
shiny pesticidal coverings safe in the shape of buns?
I saw an ad once for cherries, imported cherries. You got, only the wealthy can buy it now, right?
So, but it's okay. I can afford organic. I am single, white, educated. I don't have children to feed. There will be poor with us always. Let them eat the pesticide-riddled fruit. Ha! Joke, riddle, on us.
Yeah, joke riddle. So we're traumatized. It's a riddle. It's a puzzle. Joke riddle on us. We got to solve this puzzle. What's going on here? So why are we giving so many people bad food? Well, the top 20% of the most traumatized of the most traumatized, let's say, the top 20% most traumatized, yeah, it seems they're going to give the 80% um, um, bad nutrition and poor food um, to communicate and to reflect that the traumatized of the most traumatized receive not not enough love from their mother, emotional food, and no maternal nutrition, maternal love, her sweetness and goodness, all missing, deprived, become the depriver, deprive it in others. The outer is a reflection of the inner state, as above, so below. So if mothers are hurting the babies, they become like her, and the repetition compulsion, others will be them, they'll play the mother and repeat on to others what happened to them, and flip flop, you hate the ones you just shamed. So traumatized people hate the ones they hurt. Mother felt entitled, narcissistic, wanted her supply, felt entitled like that. You identify with her, Faustian deal, Faustian pact, Faustian bargain. Okay, so you act like her, uh, shame yourself though your mother shamed you. Too painful, so find proxies of you to stand for you and treat them how your mother treated you. So you need somebody to hate and shame, so you don't hate, so you don't know that you're shaming and hating yourself. That's called scapegoating and blaming, externalized living because of the paucity of inner experience. Karen Horney's essay.
Side continues organic for the rich, toxic tap water for the poor. We have a lot of work to do with this re-evolution.
So some people feel emotionally poor, right? So make others poor. 80% are poor to reflect the emotional poverty of the 20%, as above, so below. And then, of course, you deceive yourself with self-deception, rationalizations, excuses to make you unaware of what's going on, to make yourself sound reasonable as a cloak, to be unaware of the pain of what's going on, and then you believe the cloak. So it's the current slogan is principle of discovery, right? Doctrine of discovery. If we, the most traumatized of the most traumatized, find something that's ours, because that's what my mother did to us, and then that's how you repeat. You have to have a mother. You're loyal to the mother. You got to imitate the mother. You don't want to be aware of this pain, so you just create some rationalization. Well, if we find it, we'll find us keepers, kind of thing. Doesn't sound too bad, right? But you want to say something that confuses people, that sounds like something that everybody's confused by, um, and that's the trick, right? Because the mother made some excuse. She said, I'm entitled. On my mother's rights. I have a right. So identify with the aggressor. Mother stole the baby's soul. Mother stole the baby's land, embodiment, like a home, land, embodiment inside is beingness. Identify with her. See land out there. You treat outwardly what happened to you and what you remembered that took place inwardly. As above, so below. The outer behavior is a reflection of the inner template state. And then you're repeating it like that. So we're not making sense doing this. Now, when we repeat something, that's kind of communication for us to know the past so we can stop repeating. So you got to be puzzled. That's the puzzle. You got to make the inference that what you're doing in the present is a communication from you to you of what happened in the past so you can stop repeating.
Really going to happen and save us. So, let us talk about salvation. And I do not mean a peach smoothie and a massage. I am talking about saving this planet and the people with it. How will we be saved? The environmental catastrophe appears overwhelming. We are afraid we cannot think our way out of this mess. Of course not. We must feel our way out. We must learn.
Yeah. When you get back your feelings, you'll feel for the animals, others. You don't have your feelings, you don't feel for others. You don't have self-empathy. You want to have empathy outwardly, right? What did you say? What was it again?
With our hearts and our hands. If you are not in your body, you are not making sense. Literally. It is disembodied discourses that have got us into this crisis. We have worshipped the false gods of logic, progress, productivity, practicality. If destroying the earth for short-sighted economic profit is intelligent, reasonable, then please, God, make me a moron.
So greed is not reasonable. Greed is infantile. Greed is infantile. Okay, gobbling with insatiable. Nothing you get that's symbolic of mother can translate to actually being mother's love back in the past. It doesn't make sense. So greed never works like that. So if that's the case, she said, geez, make me do something to me. She said that, I don't know how she's going to say it, right? She makes a joke like that, but.
This is a spiritual revolution about finding our ways back to the land, finding ways to
her phrase, you put a dash between, it's not a revolution, it's a evolution. Keep evolving. We're meant to evolve. We've got to continue to evolve. Healing is part of the continuing to evolve. So we've got to heal to evolve, to re-evolve, continue to evolve.
Spiritually fed. And it is not easy. I know. I myself have strategized on ways to make my plans fit their pathology. I have walked through the shadow of political expedience. Once I had a campaign I thought I'd do this whole campaign about changing the environmental reference to this earth, from Mother Earth to Father Planet. Yeah. You see, I read all those, those bumper stickers that were out, those with the green earth globes that said, "Love your mother." And I despaired. I knew there was no hope. And I'm not even referring to the irony of having pro-planet language on the back of a car. Hallelujah. I am referring to the slogan, "Love your mother." It won't work. What? America hates its mothers. I thought of Mother's Day and the men who give the mother of their children sentimental harlequin cards, then beat, rape, and silence them the other 364 days. No, I thought. No wonder we have an environmental crisis if we treat the earth the way we treat our mothers. We think mothers are made to be exploited. They are supposed to give and ask nothing in return. They are supposed to have infinite resources.
This part here, she's talking about mothers thinking that way about their babies, and identification is aggressive, but she's got to say it in a way for the audience, right?
Good mothers are willing to be drained, damned, and depleted for their children. Mothers live for their babies' feeding schedule, and there is always a little milk left for Exxon, Texaco, International Paper, and the U.S. military. I mean, I thought that if nature was perceived as male, then maybe everything would be different. Think about it. I mean, it might not be nice to fool Mother Nature, but if you mess with Father Planet, he'll beat the shit out of you. Hail, hurricane, and all. Yeah, and then maybe environmentalists would get the respect they deserve. No longer mamas, boys, and girls. Maybe they would be treated like real men and the real women who love.
Yeah, nice try, right? Just guessing around. Is there any kind of slogan that can be helpful? Doesn't work, right? Really scaring people. Oh, the planet. It's really it's an angry father. Come on, give me a break. That's a loving mother. Oh, mother, you're angry, mother. Father. It's not a father. Somebody tried, oh, sweet grandmother Earth. What about your spouse? Even children. You cannot transfer anything about a personal psychology with your family onto the planet. It won't work. Right?
Oh, man. A name change to Father Planet is not enough. Fathers and mothers, we both need to be saved if this planet is going to survive. The environmental crisis points to a total ideological and spiritual crisis. Including the earth in the economic equation is not enough. We are destroying the earth for reasons that are bigger than economics.
Yeah, this part here.
You see, we are afraid.
This is the one part I'm still a little question mark about. I'm wondering if this is the issue that we didn't get the oneness of the mother. We need it, but we cannot go back. So there's a rage like that. That's what I think she means.
We are afraid of this earth.
Mother.
This nature that will bring us back to dust.
Mother, to the mother.
We are afraid of the dust and the dirt that will claim us.
The symbiosis
or
with mother.
The waters that we came from. And thus afraid of women's bodies, the bridges by which we walk this earth. An intellectual atheist, performance artist in spiritual crisis wrote this sermon. Because this revolution is about a religion in one of its original meanings.
Yeah.
Relinking.
Okay, relinking. So our beingness, we got lost. You want to relink it back. You want to get it back or link it back. That's the original meaning of the spiritual idea. You lost your beingness and you want to relink it back. It's the delinking issue. You want to link it back.
Connecting. The lives of women raped and murdered daily are fought in this struggle. The lives of indigenous peoples are fought in this struggle. The men and women lost in the empty addiction of power, these infantile gods, will grow into their souls if we win. We want.
Yeah, infantile gods. She got it there. She really got it with that one.
Yeah. When? If the pioneers had a manifest destiny to colonize, control, and consume, then the pioneers should have a manifest destiny to decolonize, create, and commune. But this must be a spiritual re-evolution, not just the environment separate and distinct from its home and all and everything. You see, if this is a spiritual re-evolution, if we get to feel as we fight, if we just get to feel as we fight, then we have already won. Amen. A women, a planet, our soul.
So let's keep adding quotes, raise consciousness. We want our consciousness to rise here. We want to now know what we couldn't have known back then so we can feel and relink back to ourselves, then we're all good, right? So back to the three faces of Eve story. It may not be clear like that. The film, it looks kind of simple or something. But the pattern is there. The pattern is there. You want to get the Jane mind, the conscious mind. It's not those either or Eve ones, right? So you got to resolve. So Baba Yaga refers to this as says to the ego, Ivan, oh, you want to heal, do you? Well, can you show me any kind of both and way of thinking in a positive way, not some cynical way? Can you upgrade and get out of this adversarial thinking, oppositional thinking, prejudicial thinking, jungle slogan thinking, either or thinking, black or white thinking? Can you do both and thinking? Can you show me, Ivan? Can we show ourselves? Can we get to for ourselves a kind of a beingness attitude that's both and thinking? Can you get to both and thinking? The both and thinking. Yeah. That's the reality. That's forgiving. That's a reflection that you forgave your parents by understanding them. That, like Bruce Springsteen, they were imperfect. They cried for love. They would have if they could have. They tried their best. Things like that. Then that's like a both and kind of thing. Then there's a person. Then you feel that there was a person. Then if your mother was a person to you, then you can be a person to yourself. If you don't see your mother as a person, this goddess and demon split thing, you can't be a person like that. If your mother's a goddess or demon, can you see your mother as a person, then you can be a person, then you're good like that. Okay, so that's a key one about the third side of the coin. So Route 66, go to $25.99 for the Route 66 quotes. It's the fifth one down. That's some of the best quotes in our collection, in our 10,000 collection. It's a massive file. It's in printed form. It's like a 5-volume encyclopedia. It's a massive file. So it's really an exciting collection of quotes. Now, of course, the hope is that the hope is that 1 out of 10 will be a help, kind of thing. By the way, coming up in the future, we got some quotes coming up. A new phrase coming up, 2946. Let's see. Should we do a preview of it here? It's a little on the heavier side. Maybe I'll save it. Let's save it. But we do have some more Celani quotes. He's a clear writer. Celani, Janoff is a clear writer. Celani, Masterson, these are good clear writers. So we got the clear quotes here. I'm thinking I might maybe just make a move here. I don't want to risk inconveniencing anybody here. Let me think. Yeah, we'll go to the lobby part for a little while. I'll take a peek upstairs. If it's available, I'll show you some of the scenery from the 30th floor. If not, I'll go to the ground floor. Give me like 2 or 3 minutes to pack up everything here, return the table, and I'll see you in a minute. Yeah, hold on a sec. Let's do this then. Oh, they got a gong here, eh? Let's not forget about the gong. Hold a sec. that it? Oh, hang on. Oh, hang on. Hold on. 1 second. 1 second. Yeah, all set up. All right, that's good. Okay. Yeah, look at that, eh? All right. Okay, thanks again. 1 second thought I could. Hey, what's this? What just happened here? Are we still? Oh my goodness! What just happened here? Something happened to my phone here. One-handed mode. Touch the blank area to exit. Uh-oh. What's happening here? Something freaked out on my phone. Just freaked out on me. Okay, thanks a lot. Yeah, see you. See you. What's going on here? It's still recording, right? My screen just went into mini mode. And it says here, touch the blank area to exit. Aha. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's back to normal. Okay. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of an off day today. I'm not my usual sort of upbeat, cheerful mode here. So I didn't deliver this video in a very energetic way. Um, Depends on my mood and little things. But however the delivery comes across, either refreshed or sluggish, or filled with too much anxiety, it's about the quotes. It's about the quotes. The focus is on the quotes to help one build their Jane mind. The Jane. Okay, when I say Jane, I mean I'm referring to the film Three Faces of Eve. Let's see. What happened here? Oh, all right, all right. Well, let's just hang out here for a bit. No one's in the pool, but I can't use the pool. There's people lounging by the pool. But let's hang out here for a bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's not about. It's about each person has to be their own detective. So we didn't play Shrinker Man today, but there's a song called Shrinker Man by Katie Lee on her soundtrack. Um, well, we played it yesterday. Shrinker Man, Shrinker Man. So she made a joke about how it would be nice if it were so easy. So it's not like that. Psychoanalysis is not a magic breast, no abracadabra. It's not like getting your car repaired by a mechanic. It's not like that. We have to actively build our ego mind, our conscious mind, the Jane mind. So we got to face, um, well, observe. Does one have jungle slogan thinking? That's a sign of trauma. That's either or thinking, prejudicial thinking. That's either or. If you got jungle slogan thinking, my greed or your greed, any kind of oppositional adversarial way of thinking, Jesus Christ, that's splitting. That's a trauma. So you got to find the both. That's a huge one right there. Oh, what's this? Oh, there's a huge. Oh, that's a school down there. Oh, I see. Is that a school? Oh, that's just some kind of sports field. Oh, I see. Just some kind of a. Where's the school? I see a kids sports field, but I don't see the school. Oh, there's a pool. Oh, there's a pool. Oh, I see. There's a pool as well. Yeah, right in the middle of the screen. There's a pool there, right? And there's a soccer field behind it. Oh, that must be the school back there then. Huh? So that's a sign of splitting. Now, splitting precludes your beingness and getting your identity. So splitting precludes mourning. If someone doesn't mourn, they become curmudgeons late in life, right? And so in the Saturday episode, the Twilight Zone episode called Saturday, yeah, they talk about the midlife audit in 7 parts, each part named after one of the days of the week: Someday, Moan Day, Tuesday, Wound Day, Thorn Day, Free Day, Saturday. Yeah, let's not redo it here, but the key ones are the Someday one. Someday, a pint of ice cream will be mother's love in the past. Someday, if I treat others the way my mother treated me, that someday in my protest, in my showing up my mother, in my protest by showing her up, by exposing her, okay, mother will, a magical time machine will appear and mother will provide the love back then. This someday kind of thing. If I recreate disappointments the way I was disappointed, someday mother will meet my needs back in the nursery. You got to face this someday thing. It's the death of unreal hope that's the birth of new life, says John. The Tuesday one, that's no baby's born guilty or defective, but he may make that belief to get along with his mother. So you got to face this false belief that that baby's responsible for saving his traumatized mother. Come on. Yeah, yesterday was a good video. Yeah, yesterday was at the Swan Place. That was a good video. The audio wasn't the best. Um, the audio wasn't so clear. Let's see. I think with this video, I think finally now the audio should be working in this video. I think in this video, if I understand it correctly, finally now the audio is working. It took me like almost a week to figure this out. I had to reset the phone and um, make sure you don't cover the mic with the plastic cover thing, things like that, and the way you hold it. Yeah, that quote coming, that's an interesting one. We played the song Self Saboteur by the band Delirium. They've got a line in there. Don't you know that you are your own worst enemy, like that. So it turns out I found a book by chance, just totally by chance, called Your Worst Enemy or something. You are your own worst enemy. From that book, it's a whole book dedicated just on self-defeating behavior. But they have a phrase for it that's interesting. They call it pyrrhic revenge. So some people in their protest to get back at the mother, they want to be self-defeating, and that's their way to see if they can punish their mother if they're self-defeating. That's a real desperation. That's a real disturbed thing to do, right? But it does. It's something that's hard to interpret or analyze. So enter the Nashville show, the old a TV show called Nashville. There's a line in there about a couple. They broke up and all that. The guy was moping around, and the ex-girlfriend said, "Oh, come on, don't hurt yourself thinking you're punishing me." He was trying to punish her by hurting himself. All he wanted to do was make her feel badly, so he hurt himself to get at her somehow. That's pyrrhic revenge. That's their term for it. So this is a new concept. I just started the book, but I have one page on it. So maybe I can just see. Maybe I can do a preview. Hold on a sec. Hey, maybe I can. Hey, maybe I can. Yeah, let's do this. Oh, let's try this. Oh, oh my goodness. This is one of these lounge chair things here. Let's try this. Does this work? Oh, that's okay, right? Okay, let's try this. Still recording. Okay, I'm gonna do a preview here of 2946. Right, these two guys here. Um, all forms, all forms of self-defeating behavior can emerge in response to a problematic relationship between a child and mother, known as a separation individuation conflict. One second thought. Is that better if I do a little back like that? These aren't too comfortable. Gee, are these comfortable? Okay, forget it. Okay, let's just do this. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's okay. That's okay. All forms of self-defeating behavior emerge in response to a problematic child and mother, known as the separation individuation. I mean, developmental conflict, relational conflict, interpersonal conflict, separation individuation conflict. Simply stated, okay, one guy's theory holds that a critical determinant of a child's self-conception comes from the way his mother responds to his earliest strivings for or manifestations of independence. If a mother responds to her child's pursuit of autonomy with anger or hostility, as though she were being rejected or rebuffed, or if she shows anxiety over her child's attempts to achieve self mastery, her child will view success very ambivalently. Despite the sense of power, freedom, and joy that independence can afford a young child, if it causes his mother to experience distress, it ultimately acquires the potential to exact severe emotional penalties for the child in terms of lost security, abandonment, rejection by a loved and needed parent. So the unconscious says, gee, if I'm successful, mother's going to punish me, abandon me, reject me. And that's what's driving the person. So enter the Twilight Zone, Gabe's story. That Gabe there, he was like that. So unconsciously, he wouldn't be successful because unconsciously he was living with the memory in the survival brain, which doesn't know time. That mother's going to punish him, abandon him, reject him. So some mothers do this terrible thing to their children. Oh, baby, you with me or against me, baby? Whoa, you try to be autonomous? You want to be happy? You betray me. I withdraw. I abandon you. I reject you. I don't want you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So they'll be in a timeless, lifelong curse of being afraid to be happy because of the memory like that. So that's sort of a by sabotaging the actions that will secure his independence and consequently cost him love, an anxious child can reestablish a secure relationship with his mother by failing to succeed. So Gabe wouldn't succeed. Oh, what's happened here? So Gabe wouldn't succeed. That's to maintain his security with his mother in the mind. So that first one, that's pretty good. I thought that first one there, that's pretty clearly written like that. Okay, what about the second one here? Because maliciously intentioned self-defeating behavior rarely occurs in a vacuum or without an enabling partner, members of the shrink community have dubbed this style emotional sadomasochism. This term implies correctly, we believe, that self defeat may be used to gain symbolic, psychological victory or control over another. For the same reasons that we have rejected masochism, however, we have found sadomasochism inaccurate and misleading. Phrases such as, quote, the weapon of the weak, or victory through defeat, quote, seem preferable to describe the unique substyle of maliciously intended behavior, which we, the authors here, Berglas and Baumeister, we call, quote, pyrrhic revenge. So I see. So they don't like sadomasochism, or they don't like that. They prefer things like the weapon of the weak or victory through defeat. But let's call it pyrrhic revenge. So the child won't be happy. That's a pyrrhic revenge, I guess. Self-defeating revenge. He feels some pride because he's showing up the mother. He's exposing the mother, getting revenge at his mother. Look, world, look at what my mother did to me. I'm not happy. My mother did this to me. That's some pyrrhic revenge. Can you believe it? The psychoanalyst Robert Stolorow, don't know much about him, has described this type of maliciously intentioned self-defeating behavior as serving a narcissistic function. A person with a defensive sense, a person with a defense, a person with a defective sense of self can use self-defeating behaviors to form an interdependent relationship with a highly valued partner in order to acquire a sense of self-esteem. If debasing oneself in relation to another can serve to reestablish a symbiosis in which one is either nurtured or attended to in a desired manner, the structure of this relationship will presumably bolster, at least temporarily, maintain the self-saboteur's sense of self. Oh, the song self-saboteur, sense of self-worth. It is hard to argue. It is hard to argue that pyrrhic revenge is not a pathological way of receiving love. Obviously, it's extremely pathological, disturbed way of getting some kind of feeling of attention from your mother. I don't know. Jesus Christ. Wow. That's a tough one, eh? This one here. These guys are really, not many people talk about this topic. That's why. Because people who exhibit this self-defeating style are the products of parents who love them in pathological ways, their adult relationships tend to pattern the interactive styles they know best. Okay, so verbal desertion, abandonment, verbal abuse, a combination of idealization, devaluation, etc. Okay, all the BPD stuff and the soap opera stuff. Yet beneath these Yet beneath these pathological ways of loving lies the second fundamental goal of the maliciously intended self-defeatist, the establishment of an interpersonal bond that wards off the fear of being alone. So they'd rather be in this Stockholm syndrome painful thing than be alone. The baby cannot be alone. The baby would rather be abused by his mother than have no mother. That's the source of it all, right? We have found. Am I blocking the micro? Can you hear me? Am I blocking the microphone? That's one thing I don't like about this budget phone. It's too easy to block the microphone when you're holding it. So otherwise, it tips over if you hold it the other way around. That's why there's a lot of muffling going on. Okay, it's hard to. Okay, where are we here? We have found that self-defeatists who employ fire and revenge in relationships are, like other self-defeatists, also centrally concerned with shoring up a potential defective sense of self. Yet, in contrast to other self-defeatists who manipulate aspects of the self in pursuit of self-esteem protection, the maliciously intentioned self-defeatist derives self-enhancement by establishing interdependence with a highly valued partner. This symbiosis, though painful and punishing on the surface, provides a structure that can nurture or bolster the self-saboteur's sense of self-worth. Maybe that's the clinging vine. Maybe that's the clinging vine narcissist. As long as the link with the partner is maintained, whether through repetitive shouting matches. Okay, there's the Carol Burnett show, right? Repetitive shouting matches, just constantly shout. That's all they're doing with most of these sitcoms. Most of these sitcoms, they're just shouting at each other nonstop. Repetitive shouting matches, fights, or oscillating separations and reunions. Break up, reunion, break up, reunion. The pyrrhic revenge seeker feels relief from a gnawing sense of emptiness or self-loathing by being linked with a valued partner. So that's the motivation of the codependent or the clinging, the codependent maybe. So maybe the codependent is, maybe this is more about the codependent. They feel some esteem that somehow they're not totally alone, right? The codependent, even though they're childlike, they can't be on their own yet. A 2-year-old can't live on their own yet. So they hook up with or marry somebody traumatized prior, because those who are traumatized prior to 18 months, they cross over and identify with the aggressor. The fallacy that some defeatists, yeah, I'm going to have to update this third one here. Okay, number 4. The fallacy of some self-defeatists are driven by demonic traits. Oh, the fallacy that some self-defeatists are driven by demonic traits toward a destiny of despair. Okay, that's a fallacy. Okay, there's no invisible thing like that. In fact, these individuals are grappling ineffectually to resolve the effects of trauma that left them yearning for those entrusted with their emotional health and well-being to act appropriately. So they're just still trying to get mother's love. It's ineffectual, it's trouble, but that's what it's about. They're hurt by the mother, repeat, try to get mother's love. That's all it is. So self-defeating is just that. Still having the hope like that. Although their repetitive involvements with parent substitutes cannot resolve the scars left by abusive parenting, it is possible to help the pyrrhic revenge seeker and all other self-defeatists for that matter, if they are helped to understand what impels them toward their self-destructive ends. So just make them aware that that it's a repetition compulsion to get a better outcome for the past, that they don't know how to mourn the loss of the loving mother that should have been there because they never got enough love to have this capacity to mourn. So they're in this troubled situation. If you recognize that there is a pervasive tendency to make bad judgments by ignoring, so okay, the last one here is like, what can we do practically? Okay, if you recognize that there is a pervasive tendency to make bad judgments by ignoring long-term risks and costs, you may be able to avoid self-destruction by paying extra attention to such long-range factors while making decisions. Okay, these guys, I remember they were saying, we don't know. They were like, geez, we don't really have the answer, they're saying. But so what about just give you something, just give you some hope. So if you could just observe yourself, gee, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. If you can at least appreciate that somehow. So if you know impulsive behaviors never works, well, you can stop it maybe. I don't know. And the other one was, if you know the contributions that others have made to failed relationship, if you know the contributions that others have made to failed relationships, and if you are content to realize that some losses are unjustified, life is far more livable. Okay, so admit it. Admit that. You know, um, there is, life isn't perfect and all that. Um, that might help as well, right? Okay, this is just the first. This is just the first run through with it. This has got to be updated, but they tackle a tough topic. So let's not. I don't expect them to have a perfect answer here, but and the next quotes. Let's see. So coming up, yeah. So the next three videos are going to be on the work of Anne Teachworth, 41, 2, and 3. These ones here. I've done a preview of them already, but I'll redo it. It's very good. It's from a book called Why We Pick the Mates We Do. Oh, there's that one about the female thing. Yeah. The notion that one half of humanity is put on this earth only to serve the male half as a helpmate, and that um, woman is to blame for all of the troubles, like Pandora and Eve and all that. Well, this provides a psychic template. Um, you know, once in place, this template can easily be generalized to other groups. Okay, different cultures, different shades of beige or shades of brown, skin tones. So we got to stop this nonsense of blaming women for everything. Okay, well, Pandora, so the stories do it, right? We're mistranslating the stories. We're misinterpreting the stories. Things like the Eve one. Oh, let's blame Eve. No, what are you talking about? That whole thing is just about development, right? The child's in a blissful Garden of Eden, then the baby copes with the trauma with either or. So you left the Garden of Eden, now you have the knowledge of good and bad, either or. And the thing about the snake, that's just the cord, the placenta, the cord, the umbilical cord. So when you leave the cord like that, you're going to think in either or. So you left the Garden of Eden. You're going to blame the woman somehow for this? And the apple is because the teeth is growing as you're developing, you're getting older. You ate the apple, well, your teeth grow. And that's just part of the development. The child might temporarily engage in either or thinking. Okay? This good or bad, either or thinking. That's temporary. You're going to twist this basic psychology and um, perpetuate the trauma of the unawareness of your trauma by them saying, "Oh yeah, it's woman's fault." That that's adversarial thinking, and then that applies to others like that. Let's see, what else do we got coming up here? What was that? Oh, Celani. Okay, talks a little bit about Fairbairn. What else is coming up here? Oh, this is the one about the lawyer. So I found a quote from a lawyer guy, wealthy lawyer, drives fancy sports cars and all this. He said, "There is a time in every person's life when one needs to step back and take a survey of oneself, to take on a course correction of one's life journey. I realized I could make the world a better place simply by becoming the person I was meant to be." Um, that's his book title, "Becoming the Person I Was Meant to Be," I think. Is that right? Oh, no, no. Oh, no. The book title. Oh, he titled his book about after a song lyric. Um, yeah, that one there. In analysis, the repetition of the past always occurs in the context of a new relationship in which there is an attempt to negotiate a different outcome. At the same time, the current therapy situation is always framed by past paradigms. That this one about Kirsten Wilson's one of the fear of the earth and all that. This may be it here. Undoubtedly, feelings of this union with the universe. Um, oh, it's a different one. Okay, okay. Oh, sorry. All right, hang on. Undoubtedly, feelings of this union with the universe are derivative of a remerger with the mother in an archaic state of blissful narcissism. You see, okay. Dynamically, this beatific union can also represent an individual's defensive attempt to transcend the painful limitations of his oneness by totally merging with everything that exists. The experience may represent a restitutive act which undoes a previous unconscious withdrawal from ambivalently experienced love objects. Such a desire for fusion with the world may even function as a reaction formation to deal with the hatred of objects or self, which the individual negates by an acceptance, a union with everything and everybody in the universe. The universe and humanity may also symbolize Mother, whose infinite control can only be mastered by and through a fusion, now under the control of the subject. And that's a different one. Okay. Okay, that's a different one. Okay, that's a different one. This one I think was about the guy went to some beautiful scene, saw the Grand Canyon or something, or some kind of beautiful scene, and rolling hills and meadows and sunset, trees. He saw some perfect, beautiful scene somewhere, and he thought for a minute he's one with it all. So he tried to merge uh, with the environment like that. That's code for re-merging with the mother, an archaic state of blissful narcissism. Okay, so we can do it with nature, like that's harmless, right? A little bit like that. A little minute of this fantasy that you're one with it all. Oh, these two guys here, they call self-defeating behavior. Sometimes they call it self-handicapping. Self-handicapping works in one of two ways: by self-handicap, by self-handicappers finding and creating impediments that make successful performance less likely, or by withdrawing effort in order to invite probable failure. Okay, yeah, right. Let's save that for next time. So that one's about if the person doesn't do their best and things don't work out, well then they have something to blame. It's sort of built in advance to protect their uh, potential goodness. So if they don't give their goodness, set it up that the thing fails, and you do it, so that you can then blame those things. So you're self-defeating like that. So you don't try your best, or you self-sabotage it. Then you can say, well, I didn't really give it my best, so that's why it failed. These other things, uh, these other things are the reasons why it failed. But the person put those other things in to set it up in advance, so you can then blame those things. So that's what it means. Self handicapping works in one of two ways. Okay, by self where are we? Self handicapping works in one of two ways: by self handicappers finding or creating impediments that make successful performance less likely, or by withdrawing effort in order to invite probable failure. Either way, the validity of subsequent evaluations is obscured, and self-handicappers' true abilities cannot be assessed because external factors mask those abilities. By creating this judgmental ambiguity, the self-handicapper or self-defeater succeeds in preserving a favorable competence image that existed before the evaluation. The unique self-sabotage, the unique self-defeating style of self-sabotaging has been called the Faustian bargain, um, after the figure made famous by Goethe. Like Faust, many self-defeaters make a bargain. In their case, seeking to protect their competence images in the present and worry about the consequences of their strategic self-defeating behavior later. Yeah, so Faust had to worry about his decision later. Right? It was too late, kind of thing. Moreover, they see. Moreover, they often see the consequences of their bargain as reversible. They can always stop the self-defeating behavior sometime in the future. They believe, and their abilities will once again shine through, regardless of what handicapping agent is used, be it alcohol or any other quote devil that can make you quote do it. The goal is to find justifications other than the self for personal shortcomings. Now, we don't mean the final conclusion of the Faustian story, but before the end of it all, Faust says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'll worry about it later," kind of thing. So people who don't do their best, well, later on, or when the right conditions are right, then I'll do my best. But by that time, it's all too late, anyways. Uh, yeah, it's what a pity about today. Yeah, it's funny. Um, some videos are really fresh and fun. Today was very sluggish, filled with speaking mistakes. I keep telling myself, I've got I'm behind with the quotes. I've got a huge backlog of I want to catch up kind of thing. So still got like about 6 or 7 pages before I catch up. So I'm kind of like, well, get the quotes out. That's the main thing. Uh, you never know. Sometimes my delivery is better than I think it is. And so I have not been analyzed. I have not been analyzed. I cannot share what I learned, kind of thing, directly. So I'm the compiler of the quotes. I'm trying to learn this perspective myself. So discussing it is sort of my way of learning it. So the give back for these anxious deliveries is that you have this 5-volume encyclopedia for basically for free. So, I mean, on the channel it's free, or for a minimal fee you can get the file on your phone, the PDF file through the link there. Actually, yeah, the weather is cooler. It's dropped a couple of degrees. Yeah, so that's good. This is, I think, the peak tourist season is starting around now, right? Yeah, the major heat wave is over, so it's a few degrees lower. It's pretty much starting now, right? I'm getting new views of the city myself here. Now let's see. I'm pointing southeast. This is south. That SkyTrain, that's eastbound, right? That'd be south. That's west, right? That's south. So that's going to be southeast that way. Okay, and then this will be sort of southwest then. That'll be west. What about the pool? Anybody in the pool? No. Okay. So 2.5 years ago, I was on the shoreline. It was kind of nice doing the videos on the shoreline. Unfortunately, those videos got lost somehow. Mysteriously got lost. I lost 17 videos. Can you believe it? 17 videos, all done on the shoreline. Just those videos suddenly got taken away. It's possible somebody didn't like it. Somebody thought it was a privacy issue or something. I didn't show any personal thing. It was just a shoreline. But mysteriously, those 17 videos just zooped away out of the thing. Very disappointing. But the quotes are saved. The quotes are saved. So my discussion for those 17 videos are lost. But that's too bad about that. But the quotes are saved. So all the quotes are saved. All these quotes, these are saved. These are saved quotes. They're getting harder and harder to find. Books, digital libraries are under attack. Search engines are under attack. Books are being withdrawn and removed online. So luckily, I think I've plucked out already before that the best quotes from this perspective. So Masterson and Karen Hornide, Edmund Bergler, and James Grotstein and Arthur Janoff and so on. And now we're going to post Ann Teachworth, and before it was Alan Golem and Althea Horner and Celani, a few from Celani, and a variety of Ullman and Paul recently. So these are clear writers. We're plucking out the clearest quotes from this analytic mind and posting them here. No other collection anywhere like this. Nothing even close to it. Not even close to it. Not even close to it. So this is an incredible 10,000 set of quotes. In printed form. It's like maybe like a 5-set encyclopedia, I think. So it's a resource for the midlife journey, for the midlife audit, for the midlife examination period. Whenever it is, whatever age you are, that point in your life when you realize the pin is in the collar. You go, well, what the hell? Something's missing. Living the provisional life, the unlived life. When does life begin? Feel like you're sleepwalking through life, like you're in a trance, like you're going through the motions of life. One guy said um, that he never needs to drink beer or wine or whatever because he's always permanently drunk. He said, like, whoa. So he's always like just drunk through life this whole time. And our outer behavior is sort of like an angry expression of that, right? And then we justify it to maintain the loyalty, to maintain the hope. The only way out of this is to admit, okay, that the mother didn't love the baby. She was impaired. She couldn't. She would have if she could have. Understanding. You got to call a spade a spade. Today's quote, you got to leave that kind of home, original psychological home. Oh, there's a helicopter and a bird. I much prefer to see the bird. Huh? Smooth, flows, glides, quiet, graceful. Oh, I'm blocking the. If I hold the camera, it's just way too easy to block the microphone. I gotta hold it like in an awkward way. Okay, I gotta get used to this new way of holding this phone here. Oh, there's the crow. There's some cranes, some clouds, some directions. Indigenous people, when they sit in a circle and create a ceremony to create a safe space where they can, um, you know, free associate and deal with their anxieties. They sometimes call on the directions just to set the stage like that. So I think how it works is, all right. Well, we're facing east here. I call in the direction of the east spirit, the spirit of the east, and then so that's like springtime and new beginnings and um, verdant green, the fresh green, the springtime, the east, right? Um, like spring is the east, right? Spring. So it's fresh and new beginnings, right? And then you face, how does it work? Then you face the south. So everybody faces south. Um, I acknowledge the spirit and the energy of of the of the south spirit. That's like summer, south. And you might associate animals as well, right? Like with east, there might be birds. Maybe in the south, there might be. So in the south, that'd be like the playful time of the summer, right? And then the autumn, when you face west, that's the autumn. Now you got the crops, that's the harvest. Now you got the harvest. So spring you were planting, and when you get to the west, you harvest. And then the north would be kind of like the winter, the hibernation, the cocoon, and then the spring. So you just kind of acknowledge this kind of thing. Um, so you're connected with nature like that a little bit. And then the couple, if it's a couple, husband and wife, then they sit down and have the eagle feather. What the eagle feather, the eagle sees things, so you can't BS the eagle, right? So the man has the eagle feather. He's got to make an I statement, speak the truth, speak from his heart. Okay, then she listens and says, "I hear you. You must have a very good reason for feeling this. You must have a very good reason for saying this. Now, thank you. You said this, yes. What's the hardest thing about that? Um, what does it suggest to you? What does it remind you of?" So she might facilitate further free association a little bit. Um, so she's the caring witness. You feel safe with her. He makes I statements, and then she receives it. Caring witness. Grief is healed when it's witnessed by care. So the ritual container, call in the directions, a little smudge, maybe eagle feather, talking stick ritual, just sets the stage and the intention that you want to be safe and speak from the heart. And then he passes the eagle feather to her. She takes the eagle feather and she makes an I statement. She talks about what's true, what's going on within her, um, and and she makes an I statement. So if something happened in her life, she talks about what it reminds her of her childhood. What needs as a child did she have? And you name those needs, and they weren't met, and how you felt by those needs not being met. And that's what's coming up. So you ask your partner for how are you hearing me make my I statement? Eagle feather. If I heard you correctly, um, something happened and remind you of the past. And in your childhood past, as you said, you had these needs for safety, connection, and trust, and discovery and learning, and things were going on that didn't happen. You felt really angry and scared like that, and those feelings are kind of coming up now by the trigger phenomena, and that's what's coming up now. Did I get that right, more or less? Um, so I appreciate the empathy. Thanks you for hearing. Thank you for letting me share that. Now you're getting a fountain of love. So you get like a ritual of making I statements, I statements, I statements, back and forth. Fountain of love, mutual growing, mutual discovery. It's a positive feedback loop where you're feeling more, you're reclaiming more, you're owning your projections more, you're making the unconscious conscious more, and the two people can grow like that and heal like that. So indigenous people have all these rituals for this very specific purpose, right? Well, I think some people are on their way here coming. Okay, some people are on their way here. So let's go down to the second floor a bit. Hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to pick one of the quotes. I'm just leaving. It's all yours. Yeah. Should we just wrap it up here, or yeah, okay, let's just wrap it up here. I wish I could conclude on a strong ending or a funny ending, or um, so I'll just have to tolerate the fact that some of these videos are not as not as exciting as I'd like as I'd like them to be. But once again, it's the quotes. Focus on the quotes. Focus on the quotes. 1 out of 10. Just find that 1 out of 10. I'm really inspired by Robert Bly. That's his sort of main thing. Okay, to read psychoanalysis for 10 minutes a day and take one line that you like and send it to yourself, email it to yourself, use it as a prompt to free associate with a springboard. What does it remind you of? What does that quote suggest to you? And when a feeling comes up, you validate. You validate. I must have a very good reason for feeling. Can you name the feeling? What's the hardest thing about that? Or what's the most puzzling thing about this quote? What's the most curious or awkward thing about this quote? I must have a good reason for selecting this quote, and just see what comes up, kind of thing. And gentle awakenings, quiet awakenings. Now, as you're self-activating, as you're building the Jane mind, okay, the conscious ego mind, the memory of the critical parent voice will come up. With me, against me, get back off, bully. Okay, that's a shadow voice from decades ago. If the frozen child one comes up, oh, and forget it, it's no use. Okay, that's the past. So build the present mind. Build the present mind. Okay, that's the Jane mind. That's the in the three faces of Eve. It's that the Jane personality one. Those other ones, okay, Black Eve, White Eve, those dissipate, right? Those represent loyalty to the trauma in the past, where you were the victim and the mother was the aggressor, and you're still fighting like that. You wanna, you want your life. You have a right to have some kind of pleasure and happiness from your beingness like that. Mother said, "No, well, back off, mother. I'm sorry, I couldn't save you. I tried. Decades have passed. I give up. I'm gonna live my life now." Or you betray me like that. Okay, mother, it's no baby's job to save a mother. I'm sorry you thought that when you were hurt with your mother, and you translated it onto me like that. That's a fig tree, by the way. Fig tree. Yeah, fig tree. Go to the music video for Sertab Erener's song called Olsun, Olsun, the one where she's holding the fig tree. She's holding the fig tree to ground her and help her grieve and mourn her losses. The sacred fig tree. It's getting dark here soon, anyways. For the love, let's close it up here. Oh my God, yeah, let's. Oh my God, I'll play that song next time. Sir Tabarenner's song called Olson, Olsun, as in Nancy Olson. There are various renditions and versions of it. It's the one with the fig tree one. That's the one I like. She also talks about grief in that one there. What time is it? Let's see. It's probably 6 o'clock, right? Oh no, 5:28. It's 5:28. So we've got about maybe 20 minutes left of light, I guess. Yeah, it's a rare. This is a very rare summer breeze I'm feeling now. This is very. Usually it's just sweltering hot. Now it's okay. It's hot, but it's tolerable. Yeah, my goodness. Just like these people in front of me, how they're building the building. We want to build our adult mind. Okay, we want to build that ark, that conscious mind that's above the water, so we don't sink in the flood like that. Okay, so that's the Jane mind. You know, it's funny about that film. It's not really an excellent film, but she did win a big award for her performance. Because oddly enough, I think it's because she made the viewer believe that she really didn't know when she clicked over and played the role of the playgirl and flipped back to the depressed girl. As depressed girl, I have no idea. That was I a playgirl in the cabaret and all this? Really? I have no idea. And she was very convincing like that. Somebody made a comment. Geez, are all actresses and actors, do they all have multiple do they all have multiple personality? Um, but she actually kind of pulled it off where we might believe she actually did not. She actually, we believe she actually does have this fictional MPD thing. Um, so she got an award for that, right? It's a missed opportunity. That film is a missed opportunity. The thing with the shrink, the cynicism of just this pompous guy blowing smoke the whole time, barely saying anything. He's shrugging his shoulders. What's this about? Um, and then magically she got better at the end. Nothing to do with him and his friend. Oh my God. Hold on a second. Where are we here? With the wind, you're not hearing. You're not going to hear me very well with the wind, right? The wind is going to muffle the microphone. Yeah, that's something this microphone cannot edit out. The muffling of the wind, right? Just ended up here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just closing up here. What about right here? Maybe I need to take a couple of days of a break. I think I've been going straight, like every day. I've been going straight doing these videos. I think I reached that kind of point where I need a bit of a breather. But the next three videos are very important, I think. The next three videos, 41 to 3 by Ann Teachworth. Her book is called Why We Pick the Mates We Do. It's analytically mind. It's not a fluffy, trite, vague, erroneous, glittering generality, preachy, useless self-help. No, it's practical. She has a very good three-chair exercise. That's kind of helpful. I believe. I kind of believe it. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's one of the best self-help things that we can do on our own. The three-chair exercise. So I've talked about it in previous videos. You can find it there, but I'll redo it formally, I guess, in the next three videos. Why We Pick the Mates We Do. Great little book. Just before she passed away, she was publishing her sequel, limited print, out of print, unavailable, no secondhand copies. I've emailed around. Oh, please, does anyone have a copy of her sequel? It's nowhere to be found. There's got to be a copy somewhere. No reply, no answer. I wrote to all the Gestalt institutes, or some of them, not all of them. Does anybody have a copy of her sequel? Maybe it's just Maybe it never really got printed. I don't know. It's possible. She talks about it in her last interview. She discusses her book in the last interview, that it's in the printing process, like it's actually being printed as she spoke. And she passed away a few months after that. So I'm not fully sure. So the child's gonna role model themselves after one of the parents, and when they grow up, they're gonna choose how their parent chose. That's why they end up with marrying someone like their parent. So typically, because you never left that house, so you recreate it. So you role model yourself after one of the parents. You don't choose what you want; you chose how your parent want. That's why you end up with the partner who has the personality of one of your parents. Um, so it's very common. Um, a common pattern is that a woman um, will grow up if she's if the first child, if the firstborn is a daughter, okay, she's going to role model after the father. Meaning, when she grows up, she'll marry a man with the personality of his mother, quote unquote. She married her mom. If the firstborn is a fellow, he role models after the mother, and when he grows up, he'll choose a wife who has the personality of his father. See, they haven't left that imprint. See, they're still at home. They're still in that psychic home. So they recreate it by choosing out one of the parents chose and finding someone else to play that other parent. Where can I block the wind here? Hold on a second. Here? Oh, I can't stand here. Can I? No, no. Hang on. Aha. What about around here? Is this okay? I'm not gonna get the guard, am I? Okay, yeah. The wind is yeah. The wind is locked here, right? So typically, um, women marry their mothers and men marry their fathers. It doesn't have. It's not always like that. Now, if it's the first child, the general tendency is like that. The second born, it'll be flipped. Whatever the third one is, the fourth will flip it. So we don't choose what we want. We just choose how one of our parents chose. So that's the match of the template. So you're going by the template, the couple imprint, she calls it, the couple imprint. Now, this is a swanky restaurant on the ground floor of this spiffy hotel. Such a nice, look at this fancy hotel. This big old fancy hotel has no real lobby. Like there's basically no lobby. You can't even, you can barely, it's like a, you can barely, there's no, you can't sit in there. There's no, I've tried it. It doesn't work. But they do have a nice little garden here. Yeah, love the garden, the fig tree. Okay, with the image of this fig tree in the background, the sacred fig tree. Let's close up with Sir Tab Arener's song entitled Olsun, Olsun, regarding the grief work process. All of the joy for which you pray is 100 tears away. That Olsen song is really good about it. She's admitting the loss. She's confessing the loss. She can admit the loss. You know. And I'll see you. Yeah, I'll see you in the next video. For the love of strange medicine, says Steve Perry. So yes, these quotes are strange. I get it. They're strange. They are strange. Um, like the preview I did about the Fyric revenge one. That's kind of strange for me. I sort of get it. I'll see if I can update it. But anyways, I'll see you in the next 3 videos where we will get into Ann Teachworth's book, Why We Pick the Mates We Do. Excellent self-help book, highly recommend it. Easily available, widely available, best-selling book back in '97. It's now in its 6th printing, I think. Another good self-help book we discussed recently is called Unloved Again by Ilan Golem. It's a self-published book through iUniverse.com, only $3.99 off that self-publishing website. It's well worth getting a PDF file of that book, Unloved Again. It's a condensation summary update of her previous book called Narcissus, Trapped in the Mirror. Unloved Again is a great book. Maybe I should move here. Hold on a second. Oh, there's the fig tree. Okay, there's the fig tree there, right? Yeah. Okay. There's the fig tree, the sacred fig tree. That's awesome, eh? Yeah. Let's do some research about figs. Yeah. Let's look up. I think I once had fig juice. Very sweet. Yeah. Very expensive. Very nice fig juice. I'm sure there's a lot of history about the fig. So as mentioned at the beginning of this video, these quotes maybe move towards helping one to no longer feel like a constant tourist to themselves. Did we play the song? I forgot if we played it. By Lunik, the band Lunik. Look up the band Lunik, the song called Constant Tourist. Very good song. We discussed it yesterday at the Swan Place. Yeah, if you go to the last video in the beginning, half an hour part, we discussed that song a fair bit. So we want to feel at home with it, not like a constant tourist to ourselves. For the love of narrative medicine, let's hit the play button to Sir Tab, a Renner's song called Olson. For the love of narrative medicine and for the love of strange quotes, thanks very much. We'll see you next time.